have you seen like when Twitter gets pissed off that somebody does they do a fan art or something and the chick has huge breasts and they say, oh, well, breasts are inherently sexual, and then the people are like, no, they're not. Just because you like breasts doesn't mean. I do think breasts are inherently sexual, because why the hell can dudes show nipple?
Well, okay,
but if a woman shows nipple, it's a nuclear explosion.
That's a societal thing, you know. They are inherently sexual because society made them inherently sexual.
Well, yeah, because like technically, like breasts are just to like, you know, feed a child or like whatever.
Yeah, they're just like big lumps of meat at the end of the day, you know. There's nothing inherently sexual about it. It's a purely.
But I have been a vehement supporter of the free the nipple movement. If you're gonna free a man's nipple, then we want this equality.
No,
we gotta start.
You just say that because you want to see girls with their teeth out.
That's it's a principled stance.
No.
I don't show my nipple. And women don't show me theirs, so it's a principled stance.
No, that's pure. That's your Gunnar brain that's speaking right now. That's not any like a philosophical stance on society. No, you just want to get off. That's all there is.
Listen, if guys can walk around in public with their nipples out, then we gotta get this equality going.
True. Then why not the reverse? You know, if girls can't go out with their nipples out, then the guys shouldn't as well.
Lock them up.
Lock them up. Yeah.
I'm sick of this. I mean, they're giving us ugly men a bad name. I mean, they're flaunting their sexuality. I can't.
True.
I can't flaunt. I don't have sexuality to flaunt. You can't either.
You could work out, you know, to get the sexuality to flaunt.
Yeah, but that doesn't fix your face. Well, my face, I mean.
I mean, you could like smack it with a hammer and see if that does anything.
That's what. No. What you do is you burn your face off, and then you can wear the wraps, and then women will be like, "Oh my God, he's so mysterious."
What are you, Jeff the Killer? What do you mean to burn your face off? Are you fucking Jeff the Killer? What do you mean?
No, it's more like you know, women love the Invisible Man, and he had to wrap his face so that people didn't know he was there.
You gotta like be like a mysterious anime character.
Yeah, and that dude from Fallout New Vegas, everyone loves him.
I didn't play Vegas, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he just loads magazines all day long and looks cryptic. Cut this out. Cut this out of the video. I don't even know what word I'm trying to think of. Like, secretive, I guess? Cryptic, yeah. He's a cryptid. He was created in SCP.
Yeah, he's fucking Mothman.
Oh, Mothman. Do you ever play the Shin Megami Tensei series?
No, but I do play like a lot of Persona, which is like a spin-off of Shin Megami.
Yeah, so you know Mothman from those games too.
Yeah, he's such a silly goober. They made him so like harmless. He looks so harmless. He looks like a plushie. Yeah.
And like when you get him, you expect to be like, oh wow, he's probably gonna be like decent. You're like, oh, okay, he doesn't really do anything.
I mean, he's
really.
like a good like a mid-game Thunder persona or like a demon, I guess.
It's annoying though because I mean maybe Pokemon does this too, but like if you play SMT4 and then you play Persona 5, they like completely flip around the rarities. So like Nikomata, like just for example, I can't remember exactly the stats, but like you'll get Nikomata early game in like SMT, but then you'll get Nikomata like later in Persona 4 or 5.
They do this among the Persona games too. Like they fuck up the rarities even among the Persona games.
Yeah, it's annoying because you don't even remember. You're like, oh, is this like an early game Mothman or is this a mid game Mothman? I don't even think mid game Mothman even exists.
No, in
but
Persona
you know
5
what I mean.
there is mid game Mothman in Persona 5. You get him during the Okumura Palace.
Yeah, cause man, like SMT3, like that was one of those games that when you beat it, you feel like a god, which is ironic because you fight Lucifer at the end of the game.
Yeah, it's pretty fitting.
I just think it's funny that like every Persona and every SMT game you fight God or the devil or both.
And it's always
I think SMT
the same God. At least for the Persona series, it's always like the same God, but like a different facets of the same God.
I think in SMT4, I think you kill or no, you have to pick. No, it might be Apocalypse. I think in Apocalypse you could fight all 4 of the different in a row. I don't remember.
I
remember
never played the SMT games.
I mean, they're good. I just don't like the newer ones because they just feel like they're just there to, the difficulty is there to just sell you the DLC to grind.
Bro, what do you mean? The new one has like the fanboy. What do you mean?
Wait, you mean 5 or are you talking about Metaphor?
Both, honestly. Honestly, both.
Because like ever since SMT4, they started selling the DLC for grinding experience, but I hit like a wall in SMT5 that I've never hit in any Persona or any SMT game, and it just felt like, and all the bosses in 5 were like bullet sponges, like they just take forever to kill. And I'm like, all right, I'm starting to, I think, unless Metaphor is different, I feel like those games...
turn-based. I don't think it's even turn-based, Metaphor.
I think it is.
Is it? I think I saw.
I think the only thing it doesn't have is dating.
Yeah, that sucks. That really sucks.
Although it's weird playing Persona games now because when you were a teenager and you were playing a game about
21-year-old man just ritzing up with the 15-year-olds, it's weird.
Yeah, and now it's like I don't think this is. I mean, they're fictional, so I mean, but I don't know if Twitter would like.
Look, Twitter doesn't like me already, so it's fine. I don't care, honestly.
But you can't do anything without Twitter hating you, so.
No, it is turn-based. Okay, it is turn-based. Okay.
Yeah, it just looks like medieval Persona 5 without the dating.
Yeah, it's medieval Persona 5. It even has like the same themes as Persona 5. It's all like about rebellion and like overthrowing the government, like in Persona 5.
I wonder if they'll ever make a Persona game where the characters are in college. Or even crazier, if they were all salary people, like salary men and women, and they were just like, I can't stand this shitty job, and then like they open up a filing cabinet and it sucks them into the midnight world or whatever.
That's basically Zenkichi in Persona 5 Strikers. Did you play Strikers?
No, I didn't play Strikers.
So in Strikers, there is this character, this party member, which is actually just a salary guy. That is fucking tired with his life, and he joins the Phantom Thieves.
I mean, Persona took so much inspiration from JoJo that what doesn't make sense for them to not completely change the setting now.
Yeah. Every Persona game is completely different. Like Persona 4 is just JoJo Part 4. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
But like I'm surprised that when they remade 3 that they actually kept the evokers in.
I mean,
because
how the fuck are you gonna remake 3 without the evokers? How are you gonna do that?
But it's funny because like 3 came out after the whole like video games cause violence. And then, like, watching trailers and reviews for it, they were like, this game has a controversial way of using your abilities. Your characters shoot themselves in the head. And I was like, that sounds awesome.
To be fair, that is a very bold choice from the developers to have you shoot yourself or to use your powers. That's a very bold choice.
Yeah. And it was cool, too, because, like, when you see Yukari and she's, like, you think that she's about to, like, you know, commit Minecraft on herself. And then you're like, oh no, she's actually cool. Like she's trying to kill God with it. No, it's fine. It's cool. It's cool. And then in 4, you're just using a tarot card. It's like, okay, well, that's not as cool.
That has a symbolic meaning. That does have a symbolic meaning because, like, the tarot cards, they are like a representation of fate and like what path you're gonna take. And like Persona 4 is all about like forging your own path. So by breaking the tarot card, you are basically saying that, oh no, I'm gonna make my own destiny. Fuck this.
I also love that the main character, he's the wild card and he can use all the different arcana, and it's just like he's just so OP. And like in 3, how he's like part of, or like I guess put him in the body of, I forgot how it worked, but like that's why he has like all the different personas and his persona mutates into Thanatos or whatever.
I like that in Persona 4, the fact that you can use multiple personas is just never acknowledged by anyone.
I also thought it was funny that like only you could see the Velvet Room.
Oh yeah.
So like they see you just staring into a corner and they're like, what is wrong with the new kid?
That's
and he's like, you guys didn't see the guy with the big nose? So they're like, what are you talking? Are you okay?
Okay, at least in 5, they all go to the Velvet Room, at least in 5.
Yeah. Isn't that's at the end of the game, though, right?
That's during the Yaldabaoth fight.
Oh, speaking of ballsy decisions, like in 5, if you answer questions wrong in interrogation and
you just fucking die. Yeah.
Yeah, he just comes in and shoots you in the middle of the head.
Yeah, that's very ballsy. Like every Persona game has like one ballsy decision that gets like really controversial. Yeah.
It was really funny too in 4 how like if you could just mess up the investigation.
No, it was,
and then they're just like, well,
you know what's ballsy about 4? That you can just like discover that Adachi is the killer, and you can just be like, nah, he's right. I'm gonna side with Adachi.
Yeah, I forgot about that too. You can either just like not solve the case and just go, well, I guess we figured it out. Well, let's just go back to school, or you can join him.
That is ballsy as fuck, the fucking accomplice ending.
But it is funny too, like how every time you solve the mystery, like it gets worse. Like you think it's the dude, you think it's the like the TV repairman or whatever, and then you find out that it's Adachi, and then you find out that it's like a thing that's possessing Adachi, and then you find out that it's like the spirit of the town that was just like fucking with everybody, and it's just like, is this? And then it's Marie, like Marie's actually the real. I'm like, what? Who? Like, how many times do we have to solve the mystery?
Yeah,
like, when is it gonna
that's
end?
Crazy about Persona 4 too, that it has like 5 fake endings.
Yeah. And I never finished Royale, but I assume Royale is the same thing because they ever since Golden they've been basically doing like,
no, Royale is not the same. Royale, basically, how they did it in Royale is that there is the entire vanilla storyline, and then during the vanilla storyline there is like little hints that set up the January storyline, which is a different thing. Separated from the vanilla storyline.
Yeah, and it was also funny too how they basically took the same twist from Persona 4 and just redid it in Persona 5.
Wait, which one? Like Persona 4 has like 10 twists or something.
Well, Adachi being the killer.
Oh, you mean with Akechi?
Yeah, Akechi. Like I knew Akechi was the killer like immediately. Because I was just like, obviously he's gonna turn on us, or he's actually the bad guy. And then I liked the twist though, that you find out that the reason that he was the killer was that he heard Morgana, or yeah, Morgana is the name of the cat?
Yeah, Morgana.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the name for a second. I thought I was getting it wrong. But like he could hear Morgana, which meant that he went to the Mementos at some point.
Yeah, that was a cool
I thought that
was cool.
Yeah, because like you forget about that. Like it was right there in your face, and when you replay the game, you're like, "Oh yeah, he does." Well, it wasn't something that they added in; it was something that actually happened.
Yeah, that was very well written. The pancakes moment, as much as it is.
Did somebody say pancakes? Yeah.
Also, the fact that you know, Adachi, Akechi, they sound similar, and they are both police officers. You know,
or like how like Japan doesn't really care at all about spoilers when they do like the next time on Dragon's Ball Z, and they're like Krillin is killed, and then Piccolo has to save the day, and then they're like, but will Piccolo survive? And then it shows him like covered in blood, and he's just like, I'm not gonna make it, Goku, you need to fly. It's like, what are you doing? Like, this is the whole episode. And they did that with Persona 4 too. Like they put Naoto on the cover, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess Naoto's gonna become a party member at some point. And then they're like, Naoto's a little boy, like he's a young boy, and you're like, that's a girl. And then they're like, oh, did you know that Naoto's actually a girl? And you're like, yeah, I knew that the entire time.
Especially like in the English dub, they make no effort to make Naoto sound male. They make no effort.
Yeah. That was the thing too, because when you first played Persona and you meet Chie, you're like, I love you. And then if you're like me, you meet Naoto and you're like, I love you. And then they're like, but she's actually a girl, so you can actually date her. And I was just like, oh, so I guess I was gay that whole time. Like
damn, that sucks.
you're like 14. Like, I don't know how old was I when that game came out? The game came out like 2011. That was like one of the later games that came out on the PlayStation 2. So I was like probably like 12 or something when that game came out, and I was just like, oh, I guess I'm gay now. I don't know.
Just a forced sexual awakening.
It's funny too because the whole thing with what's his name with Kanji. Yeah, how he's like, I think I'm gay. And they're like, no, but Naoto's actually a girl. He's like, oh, I guess I'm not gay then. I'm like, as the player, like, you could have the exact same reaction as he has.
Kanji is still, like, a very overtly, like, a bisexual, even after the,
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, some people are like, oh, I guess he's not gay anymore. I'm just like, I don't know. I think he's just kanji. Like, I think, like...
You know, he's just vibing. He's just a little guy, you know? He's just a silly guy.
Yeah, but it's like... I just like how games that were released 20 years ago are more poignant than anything that's released today.
Yeah, because today, the issue with the games of today isn't like a DEI, it's not a censorship, it's the fucking bureaucracy that for every decision you need like to go through 20 different bureaucracy fucking steps. You need to ask 10 people in higher positions, and it just stifles creativity.
Yeah, because I thought that it was just like they're afraid of being labeled, you know, labeled by Twitter. So they're like, oh, we have to, whatever, if Twitter says that you can't have a character with big boobs and we can't have a character with big boobs, and then people are like, hey, why don't you put some big boobs in the game? And they're like, well, what are you, a rapist? You want boobs in this game? What do you, rape? Okay. And it's like, no, what are you talking about? It's just...
Though, admittedly, some people that complain about the censorship, they can get very silly. Have you seen the fucking Twitter post about the vagina bones? Have you seen that post?
No, what is that about?
Okay, so there is, I don't remember the game, but it got censored, where in the Japanese version, you could see, like, you know how in girls you can see, like, their navel, like poking out from beneath the shorts and stuff. They removed that in the English version. And one guy on Twitter was like, they removed her vagina bones.
Vagina bones. I mean, actually, speaking of ReFantazio, I don't know if it's true or not, but I saw a screenshot of a character that they flattened her ass, and I don't know if they actually did that, but that's the kind of stupid thing. It's like, you know, men and women like hot girls.
Have you seen what they did to Topaz in Starfield?
Oh yeah, that's kind of weird because like people, I don't know if it's like a gaslighting, but like people swear that she wasn't actually censored. No, but I'm like, it's still pretty good.
There is like a comparison pictures. Hold on.
I still think Topaz is like the hottest character in Star Rail. I think she's hotter than Kafka.
That's okay. Let's be real. The hottest character is clearly Wawa. Okay, let's. Let's not...
One of the reasons why I didn't pull for her was because I was just like, I don't want a crying girl on my team the whole time.
Never talk to me again. Never. Ever again. Never speak to me ever again.
But it's annoying because, like, apparently she's, like... People were saying that she was good for DOT teams, and I'm just like, aren't DOT teams dead now?
Oh, they are.
Yeah, ever since Acheron, like, nihility doesn't mean what it used to mean, so...
Okay, so Wawa is good for, like, every character that wants to get their ultimate. That's her thing.
And that's the other thing, too. Like, if I skip a character, I'm afraid to roll on the rerun because I'm like, aren't they just gonna make a new character that's a better Ho-Ho? Or a better Aventurine? Or...
With sustains, it's improbable because, like, Fush 1, she came out in 1.3, and they still haven't power crept Fush 1.
I don't know, because I thought Aventurine was supposed to power creep her.
No, it's not really a direct power creep, no. Aventurine is better, but it's not a direct power creep.
Yeah, I was thinking about rolling for her, but I think I either skipped her or they just didn't re-roll her.
Yeah, I don't think Fush 1 has rerun yet.
Because now they're starting to have so many characters. They're now like putting out 3 reruns alongside of a new character.
That's a good thing. Like a shit ton of reruns. That's a good thing because it means
because they're still gonna make money.
Yeah, no, I mean even for the player, because even if you miss a character, by doing so many reruns, they're gonna like come back relatively soon.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I like. Nikkei is good with that, where the character is limited, and then like 2 days after they're not available anymore, they're put in the standard pool. But there's so many characters that it doesn't matter. Like, you're probably still gonna have to wait a while to pull the character you want.
It's diluted, yeah.
Yeah, so the company still makes money, and you still have something to work for. But I hate when games make almost every Hoyo does this a lot, where they make characters that are limited, and then you have to wait forever for one to get reran because they just forgot about the character.
Yeah, that's Genshin. They do that in Genshin. Yeah.
Dude, Chuyo, I don't know how to say her name. The chick that has, like, I don't even know how to explain her. I feel like they reran one character like 3 times, like 3 patches in a row. They reran her. It was insane.
But I didn't hear about that. I didn't hear.
Some character with her name starts with a C. Shio something.
I don't know Genshin characters.
It was. I don't know them really either, but like it was like they released her, then there was a new character, and then they reran the character right before that. And I swear they did that like 3 times. And it was stupid because, like, if I was ever gonna play Genshin, I would want to pull Yelan. I think that's her name, the blue chick.
Yeah, now in HSR, it's not even Kafka, the most simple character. It's Firefly. That's the most simple character.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of she has like an unfair buff because she like died, or she's not real, or she died, or like whatever, like.
No, she has an unfair buff because she was specifically made to be like the canon GF. You know, she's actually just the canon GF for the protagonist.
I thought that. Oh no, okay. I was about to say I thought that was Robin, but that was just Tectone being Tectone.
No,
that's
Tectone doing Tectone things. No, don't worry about Tectone.
Tectone is doing other Tectone things right now.
Yeah, he's busy with some allegations at the moment, Tectone. We're not gonna talk about it.
Oh man, this year was just this year was crazy for drama.
This was the worst year to be a minor. This is the worst year to be a minor.
I don't think his was a minor though.
Yeah, okay. At least it wasn't a minor. There you go.
Yeah,
at least it wasn't underage.
I thought it was funny that, like, with Dr. Disrespect, he basically, like, when he came back, basically all he said was that the messages were inappropriate. I didn't say that they were sexual. And then people were like, "Oh, okay, we'll come back. We'll watch his videos again."
I mean, to be fair, he kinda fell off. Like, his viewership isn't like it was back then.
He just got a deal with Rumble, but like, dude, when he first came out, he was the only streamer that I watched. Because that was when PUBG came out, so I was just like, I was playing PUBG and I was watching him play PUBG, so I was like, this is awesome, a brand new game, everyone's playing it, and this is the new streamer that everyone's talking about. And then he got banned off of Twitch, and then the allegations.
Bro, did you see the fucking checkers chess picture that he posted?
Oh my god.
That's so stupid.
And then the tweet that was like on a hook in the water, like it was bait.
Oh my god.
It was funny too, because there's a clip of Dr. Disrespect saying that he likes Drake's music, and that was like people were bringing that back up when the Kanye, oh my god, the Kendrick and the Kendrick and Drake beef, and the whole thing was that Drake is a pedophile. So then they got a clip of Dr. Disrespect, who's being accused of being a PDF. And he's like, I actually like Drake's music. I like him. I like him as an artist. So people are like, oh, he's not like us. He's not like us.
No, I don't get this thing that like groomers do online sometimes, where it's like, you see, grooming an underage girl was all part of my 4D chess scheme.
Yeah,
you
when
played
Drake's
right into my trap.
Dude, who else did that? Oh no, it's a very obscure. No one's gonna know what I was about to. But when people do that, like when they go, no, I just wanted, I told everybody that I was a PDF so that I could find out the leaks. I could figure out that I was just putting that out there to find out who would go along with it, so that I could figure out who the bad actors are. And I'm like, dude, you just called you Your plan was to have the whole world think you're a PDF file so that you could own somebody? Dude, that doesn't make any sense. And that's kind of what Dr. Disrespect did. But then when he came back, he was like, he goes, I said inappropriate messages to a minor. I didn't say sexual messages to a minor. And then that's when I was just kind of like, okay, so like what? He made like dick jokes to a 17. And oh no, that was the thing. That they might have been 17, but that doesn't mean that they were a minor in that state.
Oh, yeah, that's also another defense. It's technically legal.
But the thing with that is that apparently the federal law takes over at that point, and the federal age of consent is 18. So even if you're or 17, like I don't know what it was, but apparently, like if you sext a 16-year-old in a state where they're 16, apparently the federal law can still take over. So even if you technically didn't sext a minor, you're still sexting a minor.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm just like, don't people know that there are no women online? And if you are a PDF file, you're not going to you're not hooking up with an underage girl or whatever online.
Yeah, it's gonna be me.
Yeah, like it's like I don't understand like how demented you have to be to actually message. Like, first of all, to sext a woman of any age online, you know that those messages are getting out. But to go after a suspected minor online, like, the EDP shit is crazy.
Did you see, like, when he tried to pass it off, like, oh, it was like an acting gig. I was going there to pretend to be a pedophile for an acting gig.
Yeah, but it's like, dude, you were on camera saying, I was here to get a cupcake. And then he's like, no, I was acting. Like, if you're gonna have a story, you can't change the story. It's all recorded.
Bro, as I said, this was like the worst year to be a minor. Worst year.
Especially like with the Drake stuff. Like, Drake brings a 17-year-old girl on stage and asks her age. She says she's 17, and then he kisses her. And people are like, what the hell? And then he was like, oh, I'm hanging out with Millie Bobby Brown before she turned 18, and I'm tutoring her. I'm going to mentor her. And people are like, what the fuck? What? What the fuck?
What possesses you to, like, admit that? Like, okay, you're doing that, but, like, why would you admit to it publicly?
Yeah, I don't get it. Especially when you're Drake. Like, you're one of the biggest names in music, and you're like, yeah, I'm just hanging out with this under 18-year-old. And his excuse was that he was mentoring her. Or no, I think she blew him up. She said, I'm hanging out with Drake. He's mentoring me. And then
so at least it wasn't him, like, admitting to it, at least.
Yeah, but it's still kind of like, dude, don't her parents... Can't they mentor her? Why does it have to be a rich and famous guy?
You know, the power dynamic there.
Yeah.
It's not...
That's kind of like the Louis C.K. thing, where like Louis C.K. was like, well, I asked them if I could jerk off in front of them, and they said I could. But it's like, yeah, you're Louis C.K. You're like the biggest comedian in the world. Of course women, because women are just like, I just want to get out of this room alive. I don't know what he's gonna do. So I'm just gonna tell him that, yeah, I'm perfectly fine with it. And then they're like, I can't not fucking believe he just did that.
It's that Always Sunny in Philadelphia clip where it's like the implication.
Yeah.
You know?
Obviously, I'm not going to hold them down and make them watch me, but of course, they're not going to say no because of the implication. Yeah, are we going to hurt these women? We're not going to hurt these women. I'm not going to hurt these women. Why aren't you understanding me? That's one of my favorite shows. Dennis is one of my favorite characters of all time.
Yeah, Always Sunny is good because, like, every character is like a horrible person, and the show that, like, knows they are all horrible people.
Yeah, it's kind of like The Sopranos, how one thing that I love about The Sopranos, there's an episode where Christopher is like, where's my arc? What's my story arc? Like, what am I going to do with my life? And if you realize when you watch The Sopranos, there's not a single character in that show that has a positive character arc. They either stay evil, they stay the same person that they are through the entire show. They like, Tony has like a little bit of redemption, but he goes right back into being Tony. Like, Melfi, his psychiatrist, she's the same character the entire show. She's like, she never succumbs to the dark side. Like, Christopher, he never stops being a drug addict. Like, no character has a positive change to their character, and you still are glued to the screen.
Because a character doesn't need to be good, they don't need to be likable, they need to be entertaining. That's
Yeah.
the thing a character needs to be.
And Tony Soprano was like the main, like actually even Oz came out before The Sopranos, but Oz was another show full of terrible characters, and you're still glued to the screen because you don't have, just because you like a character doesn't mean you agree with all of their actions.
Yeah, some characters, it's like, I respect the villainy, you know? I respect how much of a dick this guy is.
Yeah, that's why people loved Breaking Bad, because it was relatable. They were like, well, I don't know what I would do if I was broke and I was about to die of cancer and my family wasn't going to have any money. Maybe I would turn to selling weed or something. Maybe I would. It's the relatability that shows and games just don't have anymore. Like the Dead Rising remaster I briefly talked about. They made Frank West like old and ugly, and I'm like, so all of these people are complaining about they're making the women ugly, but now they're making the men ugly too. It's like, can't we just have like a normal guy who's just...
It's relatable because you're ugly IRL too.
Yeah, maybe that's what, but it's just, it's so weird. Like, they change things that they don't have to change, and they make things unrelatable. Because, and that's the other thing too, like, if you say like they're making women ugly, they go, oh, well, you've never seen a woman before. It's like, no, nine women out of 10 are maybe eight out of 10 women are decent, they're attractive, and you could totally date them. It's just that when you're playing a video game and they remaster it and they take the character and then they make the character ugly, and people say, hey, you made the character uglier, it's like, it's distracting. Like, Frank West just looked like a normal dude, and then they turn him into a hard 40, like drug abuse. Like, age hit, he fell from the age tree and hit every branch on the way down. And it's like, you don't have to do this. Just leave him be a normal guy. Do you have multiple accounts, or do you just have this one?
No, I just have this one. Like, I already struggle to manage Arknights and Honkai. I couldn't get another account.
That's where I'm getting, because I want to play Girls Frontline 2, and I'm like, I'm going to have to drop another game. But I don't know if Girls Frontline 2 isn't that, because I want a strategy gacha game, and and this is a strategy like XCOM type game, so I'm like, oh, okay, I'll try it out. But
oh shit, it's like XCOM? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're calling it like waifu XCOM, basically.
Yeah, you know, I give every gacha at least like one try. You know, I tried Zenless, and bro, I hated the TV mode in Zenless. So I dropped it. That's
weird too, because like I heard apparently they've said that they're committing to dialing back the TV mode and almost taking it out of the game completely. But then people said, no, we like the TV mode. So they went from the TV mode is ass, take it out of the game, to, okay, well, we'll dial it back, to, no, don't dial it back. We still want the TV mode.
So what happened? Okay, what happened is that 1.0 releases, you know, the game launches, and there is a lot of TV mode. Like, actually, 80% of the game is just a TV mode where you're playing, like, a shitty Mario Party games and basically doing interactive cutscenes. And so people were like, okay, look, the best part of your game is the combat. Why is there so little combat? So the developers take that feedback, and they're like, okay, we're gonna dial it back. 1.1 releases, and the TV mode is just gone. Like, they didn't dial it back, they removed the TV mode from 1.1. And so people were like, hold on, what the fuck happened to TV mode? Why the fuck did you just take it out?
Yeah.
And since, hold on, the story still goes. Since a lot of cutscenes and story moments happened inside the TV mode, now they happened inside the fucking VN text cutscenes, which just killed the pacing of the game. It just murdered the pacing. And so that's why people wanted the TV mode back.
I played a lot of the Etrian Odyssey type games, like Persona Q and Q2. They're basically Etrian Odyssey, like dungeon crawler games, but with Persona. So like I played those and SMT Strange Journey, so I understand like playing an RPG with like a limited budget where you can't have 3D models and you know you live with the 2D sprites and everything. So the TV mode didn't really annoy me that much. It does get boring and repetitive, but like that's the whole point of having multiple modes. so you don't get bored of one too fast. So, but people criticize me when I put out some videos about it, and I was saying, like, I like the game so far. I just hope that it has more 3D and, like, environmental stuff. And people were like, the TV mode is perfectly fine. I like the TV mode. Fuck you. And I was just like, no, I didn't say that you're a bad person if you like it. I didn't say that I hate it. I just said I hope there's more 3D. And it's like, and that's like the Twitter brain rot, where, like, if you aren't 100% on somebody's side, then you're a murderer or you're a rapist. And it's like, no, you can calm the hell down.
Yeah, it's the us versus them mentality. It's the in-group, out-group mentality.
Did you ever play, like, No More Heroes?
No, but I hear it's really good.
Yeah, the first game had open world, but everyone said that the open world wasn't that great. So in the second game, they just took the open world out completely. And it's like, no.
That's a bit drastic.
Yeah, I'm like, just tweak it a little bit. And then I haven't heard great things about No More Heroes 3, so I haven't really, like, looked into it. But it's just I
don't know what happened with No More Heroes 3. Like, it got announced, there was, like, a shit ton of hype, then it released, and I never heard about it ever again.
Yeah, it's just like, it's sad because Suda51 is one of my favorite developers. Like, I loved the game Killer 7, and
I don't know that one.
I don't know if you would like it. It's very avant-garde. It's more of like an art game than a game. It's weird. Like, you hold down the A button to move, and you reload by flicking the right analog stick, and there's a 7 character, or, well, you switch between 6 characters for most of the game, and they all have, like, their own abilities and their own firing. It's a third person game, but you aim in first person. It's very weird. Like, if you have the time, like, you should look into it if you just want, like, a weird game to check out. But yeah, it's a very, like, artsy kind of, like, does not care if you don't understand the story, does not care if you don't like the controls. I like it though. It's cool.
Okay, so it's kind of like a Silent Hill 4, The Room.
No,
so it's kind of like that.
Well, like, okay, that's kind of a bad example for me because I don't really like Silent Hill 4. I want to.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They are both, like, very artsy games that don't give a fuck if you like them.
Silent Hill 4 is weird because it feels like they wanted to make an escape room, like, short little game, and then they were like, shit, we need to make this into a Silent Hill game. And there's debate on whether or not it was ever going to be a Silent Hill or it was always going to be a Silent Hill. But, like, when you play that game, when you go back to the room every 2 seconds, and it's like, okay, I like the room, but can I make some progress? Like, I have to be able to make some progress in the Silent Hill world. I can't be going back to the room every 2 seconds. And it's like, yeah, the room is cool, but when you force me to go back there every 2 seconds, and they flooded you with enemies in that game, like, at the beginning of the game, you get, like, 40 bullets, and they spawn, like, 700 enemies and dogs and moths and stuff. And you're like, for me, I'm like, dude, I love the setting. I love the concept, but it's too many dogs, too many zombies, too many floating ghosts and everything. And it really hurt the game for me. Like, if I sat down and really gave it a try, I'd probably like it. But yeah, it was definitely experimental.
Yeah, that's what I meant. It was also like an experimental game that didn't really care if you liked it. That's the comparison I was trying to get at.
Yeah, and Killer 7 is way more so. Like, Killer 7's just like, you're either going to love it or hate it. With Silent Hill 4, you can kind of, like, muscle through.
Oh, it's very cartoony. I like the art style.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like, the enemies, they're called Heaven Smile, which is a super Japanese name for an enemy. But like they're created by a terrorist organization, and they're invisible to humans. So only the members of the Killer 7 can see them. And they're basically like bombers. They go around and they blow up people. So the Killer 7 have to, like, go in and stop these creatures from killing everybody on the planet. If you've played Resident Evil 4, like the regenerators, it's basically that mechanic.
I played every Resident Evil, every mainline Resident Evil with my
too.
mother, actually. With my mother. Wow. I played it with her, yeah.
My dad tried to play them with me, but he gets dizzy and he can't play video games. So
yeah, no, it's more like I play while she, like, stands beside me, like, watching the game. Because she's, like, a huge Resident Evil fan, my mother. She's a huge Resident Evil fan.
Yeah, I've been playing Resident Evil since the remake of the first game came out. on the GameCube.
Oh, that's a long time.
And then I went back and I replayed all of them, except for I never played through Outbreak and Outbreak 2, trying to get around to do it because they were so cool. Like the concept of like it's real-time survival. Like if you don't move and you don't get the nail gun and you don't put the boards onto the door and you don't get your people all in the same room, like you're going to get overwhelmed. It was so cool. I remember like walking home from Blockbuster with the first like Outbreak File 1 or whatever, and I was like, I cannot wait to get home and play this game, and it kicked my ass. It did not give a shit if you didn't know how to play it. I was just like, all right, I'm in a bar, everyone's running upstairs, I went upstairs, I got a nail gun, I gotta put the boards, I'm dead. And then you play as like the Japanese schoolgirl, and like she starts in like the bathroom, and you're just like, oh my, now what am I supposed to do? And I walked past a vent and a zombie grabbed my leg and I was like, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing in this game.
I never played the Outbreak games. As I said, I just played the main line. But this does sound very cool, like a real-time survival. It's kind of like the cabin in Resident Evil 4, right?
Yeah, kinda, except it's like, it's more like you need to like get from point A to point B, instead of like defending one area. There's probably parts like that in there, but I haven't got to them like that.
That does sound like a very cool concept for like a full Resident Evil game. Never got around to playing it though.
Yeah, like it's also got like, I don't know, like 10 characters you can choose from, so like the replayability is there too. It was probably the first Resident Evil game to have online, like multiplayer. Yeah,
I'm seeing online there's like a multiplayer like playthroughs. That's really cool.
There's a lot of shit out there. That's why, like, whenever a new game comes out and there's like a controversy, I'm just like, I wasn't even gonna buy it anyway.
That's the thing. Every new game has to compete with every game before it, because otherwise you could just go play the old games instead.
Yeah, that's the great thing though about this, because gaming is one of like the most expensive hobbies. Like if you want to have a computer that can emulate every game, and you want to play like the newest like first-person shooter, like whatever, you have to put a decent amount of money into your computer, like at least $2,000 at least.
Yeah, I've been saving up like for a year for a new computer here.
Yeah, but it's like once you get it, as long as you don't get like a faulty part or something, and you take care of it, you probably get 5 or so years out of it. So hopefully more. I mean, I have an Intel processor, so I'm probably gonna have to rebuild my computer soon.
No, I've had this laptop for like 3 years.
Oh, you're on a laptop?
Now. Yeah, I'm on a fucking laptop right now.
You edit on a laptop?
Yeah, I edit on a laptop. But it's like, I got 2 screens anyway, so there's like the laptop, and there's like a huge screen behind it.
Yeah, I was just thinking more of like the RAM, like you don't have enough, like, multitasking power.
I got 16.
Oh, wow.
Gigabytes of RAM. Yeah. I swapped it out. Like, it's one of the very few things about a laptop that you can actually swap out is the RAM. So I swapped it.
Yeah, and you could get like a external hard drive too, but there's not you can't swap out the processor easily or anything.
Yeah, that's the thing with like a proper home PC. You don't need to get a whole ass other PC. You just need to swap out the parts. With a laptop, you can't really do that. You need to get a new laptop because you can't replace the processor or you can't replace the motherboard.
Yeah, the one thing that I hit a roadblock on is I bought an AMD, or not AMD, an Intel processor. So you can't just swap out an Intel processor for an AMD processor. So like if I want to upgrade, I have to redo basically my whole build. I have to get a whole new motherboard, that would actually support the AMD processor. Then I had to research what the best processor is right now, and then I had to get that. So that's what sucks. And I've heard that like the Intel processors right now, they're so bad that like they're degrading faster than they've ever degraded before. So it's like, yeah. And my first ever build, I did get an AMD processor because my friend told me AMD was better than Intel. Apparently that was not the case back then. It is so now.
Now, he was just like telling you for the future, for the long-term investment.
Yeah, well, it was more like a Ford and Chevy type thing, or Democrat, Republican. Like he was just like, get AMD because I'm an AMD guy. And back then,
it was political.
Yeah, and like back then, if you were an AMD guy, you were just an AMD guy. It wasn't because they were better. But like shortly after that, they were like, oh no, AMD actually is like the standard now. Like they are better. And like some people say that like Nvidia is still better for graphics cards, and it's just like I don't even know who I'm talking. Like I'm so scorned. I'm so like scarred by that. I'm just like I don't even want to believe it anymore. I'm like, oh yeah, like the last time you said AMD was better, and then
I think Nvidia is still like the best for graphics card. I think it's still Nvidia.
Yeah, and everybody's investing into them because of their AI and everything. So.
Well, I don't know what Nvidia AI does. I didn't.
That's what I heard. Like that, like Nvidia, they have like major breakthroughs in like the DSL technology, and apparently they're branching off into AI. I don't know, and that's why their stock keeps going through the roof.
What the fuck is AI even gonna do for like a graphics card?
I think like real time upscaling, I guess, so that like, I'm bringing it up again that in the Dead Rising remaster, they tried to AI upscale a lot of the textures.
Oh god, like they did for the fucking Persona 3 Persona 3 Portable Steam port, like how they did for that.
I don't know how it looks for that, but like they butchered it. Like they ran it through a program, and because of the old resolution, like C's looked like O's. So in the original game, there's a sign that says out of business. And when they ran it through the AI program for the remaster, it says cut of business. So they didn't even double check it. They literally just thought like, well, I put it through the AI, so obviously it solves all my problems. And yeah, it did that for a couple things. And like they spelled business wrong too. They spelled it BUISISS, like business. And they didn't double check it.
Business.
And it's like, yeah, you realize that AI is a tool. Like, it's not just something that you download and then all of a sudden, like, it does your taxes, it walks your dog. You still have to do things.
Saying. It's a tool, like any other, which is also why, like, the people that are just hate AI with all of their body, that's also kind of silly to me.
Yeah, well,
it's a tool. You can use it very well.
It's kind of like how when Baldur's Gate 3 came out, nobody said that it was woke, but then randomly, now all of a sudden when you bring up Baldur's Gate 3, you see people in the comment section that are like, woke. That game's woke. And it's like, okay, there are some games that you can say are woke, but like just because Baldur's Gate 3 lets you be gay and has a gay canon character, that doesn't mean that it's woke. Because we've had gay characters before and it's never been woke. So that's the thing.
Honestly, I don't think woke means anything. I don't think it has a real definition at this point. People just use that as a thing I don't like or makes me uncomfortable.
It's supposed to mean forced left-wing politics. But there are the people that like Dead Rising, like they'll say that the Dead Rising remaster is woke, and I'm like, no, it's not woke, it's just bad. It just sucks.
Yeah, like, it's like the Saints Row remake. Did you see when the fucking Saints Row remake came out?
Yeah, it was fucking terrible.
This game is woke. No, you dumbass. It's just a terrible game.
Well, that's the thing. Like, people conflate. Like, it could be bad, and it could be forcing a message. But, like, that's the thing. Like, just because it, what do you call it? Metal Gear Solid. Like, Metal Gear Solid is political. But, like, if you take it as just, like, a sci-fi, like, political thriller, like, I don't think anybody's, like, basing their political views off of Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, Metal Gear is, like, the wokest shit ever, if you look at it. It's like the wokest
but it's like,
shit ever.
But you could literally look at it as just like, oh, this is just a sci-fi world, and it's like, whatever. But, like, some people, like, if they see anything in a game that they disagree with, they're just like, it's woke. And it's like, no, the word has to mean something. Like, if you want to say that, like, Dustborn or Concord is woke, okay, so now you have a frame of reference.
That's fair. You know, Dustborn and Concord, that's fair.
Yeah, now you have a frame of reference, but then you can't just turn around and say that, like I think somebody said that, what was it, that Space Marine 3 was woke? And I'm like, what? Like, I don't even, and they never give an example either.
There's like an Indian character in that game, I think.
Because like, well, the one argument that I heard was like, oh, they're putting women in the game, and the women aren't supposed to be custodians or whatever. I don't know any of the lore. That was just what they like. They're female custodians. How dare they? They can't do that. And I was like, oh, okay. So like, they're saying it's becoming woke. Like, but then they'll say something is woke, but then they won't give an example. And it's like, if you're gonna say that Dustborn is woke, and then say Space Marine 2 is woke, it's like, okay, well, those are two completely different fucking games. One's about a bunch of meatheads in space, like, you know, in like a sci-fi fascist, like, nationalist dictatorship type situation. And then the other one is the robot has pronouns. Like, it's kind of two completely different scenarios. You can't use the same word to describe two different things.
I don't get the meltdown that the people have like over like pronouns in games, and like the character selector using body type instead of gender. I don't get the outrage over that.
Well, that's the thing. This is why I think people are kind of insane, is because Baldur's Gate 3 had pronouns and nobody said shit, but all of a sudden, like, Starfield has it, and people are like, pronouns! What is this pronoun? And I'm like, I feel like with Starfield, everybody secretly knew the game was bad, but it was hyped up. But it was hyped up so badly, and people were like, this is the next big game. So they had to pretend like they cared about the pronouns so that they could say that the game was bad without saying that the game was bad. It was like a really weird thing where they couldn't admit that they were wrong about the game, so they had to deflect and say like, oh, it's the pronoun, and if you care about the pronouns, then you're messed up, and how dare you? And it's like, no, I think the game just didn't have any content, and people they don't want to admit that they were led along by Todd Howard.
I'm just glad that nowadays we can just freely admit that the Starfield is ass. Yeah. I'm just glad we can just admit that nowadays.
Yeah, and it was funny too.
Back on release, you couldn't say that.
Yeah, and then the DLC came out and no one played it, and it's like, well, where's the support for this? You all said that this was actually unrecognized talent. This was like a great game. Just people just don't. It's ahead of its time. Then the DLC comes out, and no one buys it. Nobody talks about it, and it's like, okay, so you admit, like, because you would have ran out and bought it if you loved it so much.
You see the developer response to the DLC getting hated? Did you see what the developers?
I want to say it was something along the lines of like, it's hard to make video games and stop judging us because it's hard to make video games.
Worse. It's way worse. They said, oh, you guys just don't get it. We heard from a few people that like it, so we think it's good.
Yeah, well, I've heard so many. There's an obscure survival horror game called what's it called? I think it's called like 1989 something. And it's made by the people who are making the Resident Evil 2. They were making a Silent Hill 2. Fuck! Resident Evil 2.
Slow down.
Yeah.
Take this one word at a time.
They were making a Resident Evil 2 fan remake, and Capcom said, you can't do this because we're making our own. So they scrapped the project and they made their own standalone style Resident Evil game. And I got all the way to the end, and there's a section that's kind of like the fight with Salazar's right hand from Resident Evil 4, where you have to run down the hallway and tip the canisters and everything.
Yes.
Did I just say Silent Hill 4 again? Resident Evil 4.
Yes.
God damn. Resident Evil 4, when you have to tip over the canisters. So they basically recreated that in this game that's called 1989 or something. And it's just a broken encounter. Like, you tip over the canisters or whatever, and sometimes it stuns the boss, sometimes it doesn't stun the boss, and then you're supposed to like run back down the hallway and get through a door. The door doesn't open, the boss doesn't die. So I looked it up, and people were like, this boss battle is stupid. It's barely playable. Like, it's not clearable. And the developer was like, well, we tested it and we cleared it a couple times, so just get better.
Get good.
And I was flabbergasted. I'm like, I can't. And they were like a Finnish. Like, they're not. English was not their first language, so like maybe they were trying to say like, oh well, maybe if you just try again. But it came off like just like, you know, it's just your fault. And I was like, I'm like, I'm never buying a game from you guys ever again. That's ridiculous. Or like how Todd Howard said when Starfield ran like ass on people's computers, and he was just like, well, just upgrade your computer. Like, yeah, people just have $2,000 to just drop on their computer at any given. It's like you're a piece of garbage.
Let me find a meme about that. Hold on, let me find a meme about that. I think I have a meme for that.
Oh, I said this to my friend too.
Yeah.
We coded Roller Coaster Tycoon so it could run on most machines. It's kind of like how Doom can be played on a calculator.
Okay,
you can play Doom off of a petri dish in a lab.
Okay, so it's only theoretical. It's theoretical. Nobody's done this yet because you need how many is this? 16 billion 39 million crabs to run Doom. But in theory, you could do it. Because
16 billion crabs.
Yes, because scientists have made logic gates using crabs. Which means you can make a computer using crabs. Which means you can run Doom on crabs.
That's and crabs are like supposedly like 100 million or billion years old or some shit. They're like one of the oldest living species ever, and they can still run Doom.
Yeah, they can run Doom. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy how God made crabs so long ago, thinking that like in the future, these things.
Dude, they're gonna be able to play Doom on this shit, dude. He's sitting there.
Crazy.
He's sitting there with Doritos and Mountain Dew, and he's just like, dude, what if crabs could play Doom? God's, he's one sick motherfucker. But speaking of like people, like when people have out of touch takes, it's kind of it's everybody's favorite punching bag. But Asmongold, when he talks about like you're a dick eater if you play gacha games, and then he plays gacha games on his stream, and it's like.
Okay, to be fair, he was probably blackmailed by like the cockroaches in his room to play the gacha. He was probably blackmailed.
They had him at gunpoint.
Yeah, they held him at gunpoint.
I think there was a movie called like Joe's Apartment or something where he becomes friends with all the roaches and the roaches all talk to him and I don't know. We're getting down a rabbit hole, but
damn, that's like Asmongold autobiography.
Yeah, but it really annoys me when like these multi-millionaires are like, yeah, like what you deserve to lose your money if you play a gacha game, and then he spends money on a gacha game and he's just like, oh, I could just write it off on my taxes. Like, it's like, but you're a hypocrite. Like, you're sitting here saying, like, you're a retard, or, you know, you're an idiot if you play gacha games, and then he's playing gacha games and spending money on it, and I hate when people say that. Oh, just buy a new computer. Yeah, because people can just do that. They walk down to the store and they just drop a $2,000. That's not their food for the month. That's not their rent. They could just buy a new computer. Oh,
yeah, but streamers are just extremely out of touch. Like, they lose touch with reality in general, yeah.
But, like, the best example that I have for why saying just build a new computer is a bullshit argument is when Witcher 3 came out. I was playing that on, like, an AMD quad-core processor that came out in, like, 2011 or something. And, like, on a computer that just should not be able to run it. And Metal Gear Solid 5. I could run those games on a computer that had no business running. It barely could run League of Legends. And I could run The Witcher 3 and I could run Metal Gear Solid 5 perfectly.
Yeah, have you heard about Hitman 3?
What about it?
Yeah, okay, Hitman 3, it has Hitman 1 and Hitman 2 inside of it. So when you buy Hitman 3, you buy 3 games. And that game weighs less than Hitman 2. Like, Hitman 3 weighs less than Hitman 2. Like, they optimize it so well that 3 games in one weighs less than the previous title.
I didn't know that. Like, you don't have to buy DLC to unlock it?
Well, yeah, there is a bunch of DLC to unlock, like, all the maps. But when you buy Hitman 3, you get, like, the basic Hitman 1 map, the basic Hitman 2 map.
Oh, okay. But does it go through, like, all the story and everything, too?
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, why not at that point?
Like, straight up, you get 3 games. When you buy Hitman 3 and the various DLCs, you get 3 games.
Yeah, I feel that's... I love when game companies do that. Like, Medieval was a game on the PlayStation, and they remade it for the PlayStation 4. And I think if you beat the game, they allow you to play through the original version for free. And I love when companies do stuff like that.
That's really cool, actually.
Because you
to
gotta
just
think,
have the original inside of the remake.
yeah, because you gotta think like if you're taking the original game and you're remastering it or whatever, you should have the bones of the original game. So why not allow people to just switch between, like the Tomb Raider? They recently remastered the Tomb Raider, the first 3 Tomb Raider games, and you can switch from between the old graphics and the new graphics on the fly. And it's so cool because like you go into an area and it looks great, and then you go back to PS1 graphics and you're like, oh my god, I played this? This is people played this and they weren't barfing uncontrollably. And it's also funny to go from like super hot Lara Croft to like a triangle tit Lara Croft. and it's like, I used to think that this was the hottest woman in the world and she had polygon breasts.
You didn't have like much of a frame of reference back then, I feel like.
Yeah.
And about Lara Croft, I also don't get all the outrage regarding the new show. Like, what do you mean she looks masculine? What the fuck do you mean?
I don't, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I barely watch any new media, but from what I've seen of it, like, people were saying that they made her black. And
what the fuck? What?
And
What do you mean?
And they were saying that they made her a lesbian too. But like, I try not to talk about things that like I don't know, because that's what happens when people they find something that's woke, and they go, "Isn't this stupid? Isn't this horrible? Isn't this pandering?" And you go, "Yeah, sure, I can understand that." And then they go, "Space Marine 3 is woke." And or what, Space Marine 2 or whatever, and you're like, examples? Like, where is it? People will say something like they made Lara Croft gay, and then I'll see a comment from somebody that says like, no, that's just an out of context clip, or they'll say they made her black, and it's like, okay, so I don't know if like, is she just tan? Is that just the lighting? I don't know, because I don't watch it.
She's not even tan, by the way.
Well, that's the thing. It's like that's the thing. It's like when people tell me that, I'm just like, I don't know, because like when you're wrong, when you're so wrong about one thing, and then you turn around and you're like, they made Lara Croft a black lesbian. I'm like, I don't know. You said Baldur's Gate 3 was woke, and just because it allows you to be gay, and but that's the other thing too. In an RPG, you should want there to be the ability to be gay. You don't have to be gay, but the fact that it's a role-playing game and it doesn't let you play a role, like imagine if like you just wanted to do a playthrough where you played as like FemShep in Mass Effect and you wanted to romance Jack. You can't do that. In Jack's story, she says that she's had 3 ways with men and women. So theoretically, you should be able to have lesbian sex with her, but you can't. And it's supposed to be a role-playing game. So Baldur's Gate 3 comes out, and it lets you do whatever you want, basically, and create your own story, and people are like, this is great. But it's woke because you can be gay. There's gay, and like the gay is, the male characters will hit on you if you're a male. And you know what you do if you don't want to date them? You just say, I don't think about you like that. And then they go, oh, my bad. And then they never bring it up ever again. That's all you had to do.
It's not like they have a consistent like a belief system. The people that just cry woke, they don't have a consistent belief system. They just yap mostly.
Yeah, and it's like I could understand. Like some people were saying, I played through all of Ratchet and Clank, the newest one, on the PS5, and I didn't really care that there was a female Lombax, but like I could understand when people are like, they put a female in the game and the female is outshining the male, and we grew up with the male character, and now all of a sudden there's a female character that's outshining the male character.
That's just like to keep things fresh, even after such a long series, you know.
But like, take gender out of it. My example is Devil May Cry. Capcom has this weird obsession with aging out their characters. So like they aged up Frank West for no reason, and Dante in Devil May Cry, he's supposed to be a half human, half devil, and he can like basically turn himself into his devil form where he's like super powerful, and they keep aging him up in every single game. And I'm like, if he's a devil, can't he just like change his age? Why does he have to get older?
He's also human, you know, he's also human.
True. But what I hate is like they age Dante up and then they're like, and now Nero is the new character. Isn't he so cool? And I'm like,
he is, by the way. Nero is very cool.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, he's cool in his own way, but like you grew up with Dante. You want to play as Dante, and then they're like, hey, you like Marilyn Manson, right? We have a new character that looks like Marilyn Manson. And I'm like, I don't really care about this new character. You want me to care about Nero, and now you want me to care about this whole new character. I can get that. And then, you know, it's gonna add an extra sting when it's like a female character that's now suddenly stronger and better than the male character, and people are gonna go, this is feminism, this is woke, this is whatever. But I don't know. If I have a choice between playing as a male character or a female character, I'm always gonna pick the female character. I've always
imagine that. Yeah.
I've always picked the female character. Like even like in Street Fighter 2, I would always play as Chun-Li, and my dad was like,
I believe that. Yes.
And my dad was like, why are you playing as the woman? And I thought he thought that I was gay. And I'm like, no, apparently it was the opposite. I just liked women so much that I was just like, yeah, put them on my screen. I want to see them at any moment of the day.
About the Lara Croft show, you need to see this one clip. If nothing else, you gotta see this one clip here. That's like 14 seconds.
I'm going to have to go to the worst place in the world.
What? Okay, what is it? France. Dude, that's like a Top Gear joke.
Yeah.
Like Top Gear is always making, well, like back when it was the European Top Gear, they were always making fun of the French, always making fun of the royal family and everything.
To be fair, the French kind of they are very good punching bags. I
think they make fun of themselves too. But yeah, like that clip, like I can kind of see like they did, at the very least they made her tan. But that's the thing. Like I don't know.
I mean, she spends a lot of time in the sun.
Yeah, she's out in deserts and everything. But like, yeah, I can. That's the thing. People just don't like change, and it just gets murkier when you bring like. Once you know that companies are putting their politics into things, people assume that everything is going to have their politics in things. So the second somebody sees like, oh, they had one trope, they gender swapped a character, or they race swapped a character, whoop, that means that the whole thing is gonna be woke. That's my thing, is just like, it doesn't even have to be woke. Like if I don't like the art direction, if I don't like one thing about it, it doesn't even have to be political. If I don't like one thing about it, I'm like, I don't have time for it. I don't care. I'm not gonna do it. Especially with gacha games. It's like I have to play gacha games. I like playing gacha games, but like I have to play them to make videos about them. So it's like an infinite fun glitch where like I like the games and I get to share the games with people online, so it works out. But like if somebody was just like, you have to play this gacha game or like your channel dies, I'd be like, I guess my channel's gone then. I can't, I'm not gonna force myself to like something because the videos aren't going to be good and I'm just gonna be miserable.
The videos, especially like your videos, they're a lot about the personality and how much you're enjoying yourself playing the game. If you gotta fake it, then it falls apart. Like the entire video falls apart.
Yeah, and that's why like if that's why like I'm not gonna watch like just because a new thing comes out. I'm not just gonna go, oh, I gotta what was it on Netflix, Hulu? I gotta watch it. What people are gonna talk about it? I gotta be in on the know. I gotta know what they're talking about. It's like, no, you don't have to do everything. You only have so much time in the world. You could get diagnosed with cancer tomorrow. And it's like, even if you got diagnosed with cancer tomorrow and they told you have 2 years to live, you're never going to watch every single movie. You're never going to play every single game. So forcing yourself to do every single thing at the drop of a dime, you're gonna kill yourself sooner. You'll drive yourself insane.
Yeah, just from the stress, honestly.
Yeah. I was surprised, like I honestly, and this is how inconsistent like the woke debate is. When they announced the Fallout series, and I heard that they were not going to really be sticking to like the lore of Fallout, I was like, well, then why? It's a Fallout show that's not made for fans of Fallout. And then every Fallout fan said that it was great. And I was like, what? I'm still not going to watch it, but because I don't have time.
Okay, that's because the Fallout show I think what they meant with it wasn't gonna follow the lore is that it wasn't gonna be directly tied to any game. It was just gonna be its own thing in the universe. I think that's what they meant with that statement.
Yeah, because like, when they say, like, we're not making this for fans, it sounds like they're going to be injecting a bunch of... Oh my god, what happened? It sounds like they're going to be injecting a bunch of stuff that's not Fallout into Fallout, and then people go, oh, it's woke. But then all of the people, like Neurotic and all of those guys, they're like the first ones to go, well, it went woke, it's gonna go broke. And they didn't say anything about Fallout. And I was like, really? I'm like... I really thought that from what I heard, it wasn't like it was going to be like the next like anti-woke thing, and nobody talked about it. So it was just like, I don't know. That's why I'm like, do people really know what they're talking about? Or but
the thing with woke, you know, with the thing with calling things woke is that inherently it's kind of a playground insult of criticism. And when you toss that out, if the piece of media that you're calling woke is actually liked by the wider community, they're gonna call you out on your bullshit. They're gonna be like, hey, what are you talking about? Seize this at once. But if it's a bad thing, and everyone is already dogpiling on it, you can kind of toss out the woke playground insult, and nobody's gonna call you out on it. So you need to be very selective with what you call woke.
yeah, it's kind of like when like Mr. Beast, like everybody was jumping on Mr. Beast, and everybody was circulating that dog pack video about all the things that Mr. Beast has lied about and faked and done illegal stuff. And then a guy comes out and he fact checks that video and finds out that a bunch of that stuff is either not true or it's manipulated or distorted or whatever. And now anything that Mr. Beast actually did that was bad, no one's going to care because you made stuff up about him. So it's like, yeah, everybody was like pissed off about the Chris Tyson or Ava Tyson or whatever thing. But now it's like, well, you also said that he was ripping people off and he wasn't paying people and he was doing all the stuff that he actually wasn't doing.
He still did illegal lotteries.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, but now normal people...
Nobody's gonna give a fuck.
Yeah, now normal people are like, oh yeah, wasn't that all bullshit? And then you have to go, no, this was real, but that was fake and this was... And it's like, you just hurt the entire thing because you couldn't stand not being the center of attention and dogpiling. Now, the dogpile... now the dog pile is like you're making a mountain out of a molehill when it could have been a mountain to begin with, and now you've made it an anthill.
Yeah, it muddies the water. It muddies the waters.
It's kind of, yeah, and that's why like it also hurts like when a female says that she's been abused, and people are like, oh yeah, like Amber Heard, that kind of abuse, and it's like, oh yeah, great, now Amber Heard
like
is
the Tectone allegations. The girl that came out, she didn't even like provide anything. So now my instinct is to kinda doubt what she's saying because of everything that came before.
Yeah.
And that's really bad.
And it's the opposite, where how Tectone showed that Atsu made up a bunch of stuff and got everybody to turn against him for things that he didn't do.
Yeah.
So now you're like, well, didn't they accuse him of things that wasn't true? So is this chick accusing him of something that isn't true? So you automatically don't trust one person because completely other people that weren't even involved lied about something. Now you can't trust somebody who's completely removed from that because you're like, well, are they just jumping on the hate bandwagon? Are they just making stuff up?
Yeah, but that's ironically as bad as it is precautions that you need to take now because so many people just fucking lie.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like when you lie about things you don't have to lie about, it makes people think that you're lying about everything that you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
And it hurts actual victims, and that's I've said that like Amber Heard has set women back like 20 years because
absolutely,
because women were at this huge height where they were like, wow, they actually believe us now, like we're actually getting rid of these bad actors. And then
you have any idea what Ava Chris Tyson did for trans people? She set trans people back like 50 years.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like I've met transgender people and they're not they're just transgender. They're not bad people.
Oh,
they're
look,
just
my server is like filled with them. So yeah, I know.
yeah, and it's like you know, but then you get a bad actor and you call out the bad actor, but then who decide, like, when people start changing the definition of a bad actor, and then you don't know, like, you can't trust one person's definition of a bad actor for other, you know, are they applying their definition to the same people, or are they leaving stuff out? Like, I'm dying to know if Tectone is guilty. I'm dying to know.
Yeah.
But like they're saying that that's the thing. Like if women don't come out immediately, then it's like almost impossible to prove. So it's like, and that's the thing too. Like Tectone is like the king of the gooners. So like he totally could have done what she accused him of doing.
Oh yeah, I can see him like using her as a blowjob machine, quote unquote.
Because like it started off like it was like very vague, and then she was like, "No, he would force me to blow him," and I was just like, he did talk about throat fucking Robin. So, oh god, and that's the thing too. Like when I'm editing videos and I'm making a 100% joke. I'm making a 100% of a joke, and I'm like, but what if one person on Twitter clips it and says that I'm like a rapist or something?
Oh look, honestly, personally, I think I've gotten cancelled on Twitter at least like 3 times. I've just never known about it.
Yeah.
Because it's completely irrelevant. The thing with cancellation is that if you don't feed into the people trying to cancel you, it doesn't go anywhere.
But that's the thing about like when Dr. Disrespect had his allegations and then he went on a vacation, I'm like, oh yeah, you sure had that. That was a very convenient vacation. It just made him look a million times worse. Because if he was just making an inappropriate joke and not sexting, because that's the thing, he didn't get thrown in jail. He didn't get any. So technically, he didn't do anything wrong. Because otherwise, he'd be in jail. Technically, yeah, and we don't have any proof. So you can't really just sell him down the river. Now people are going to because it's the internet and that's what they want to do. But the thing with,
and he's kind of an asshole, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's his persona too and everything. But like with Tectone, like he's not talking about, like, not only is he can't talk about it because he claims he's gonna sue her for false allegations. But the thing is like apparently somebody said that he's not streaming right now because he lost his voice. And I'm like, oh my god, that's so bad. That's so
really
bad. Like, I swear to God, if I was ever accused of something, because first of all, I would never talk to a woman online. Like, because there are no women online. He says that he didn't do it, and now he's not making content. That makes people immediately think that he's lying and he actually did it.
So if I was him, I'd do the stream with like without a voice just to prove that I don't have any voice.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Like if somebody was like, if I make a joke about, because this happened, like, oh my god, like Honkai Star Rail, when Yun Li was announced, I was like, oh my god, a new chick that's not wearing any pants, like I'm sold. And then people were like, she's 12 years old.
Any shoes either? Ooh.
I was like, wow, they're really leaning into this fetish. And then people were like, she's 12 years old. I go, never mind, because that's the thing, like. If you say a fictional character is hot, and it turns out that she just looks underage, because that's the thing too, like a short character, like I'm not, like if a girl is short in real life and I'm into her and she's into me, I'm not gonna say no because she's short. Like tall girls will probably say, like a 6 foot tall girl will probably turn you down if you're not 6 foot. But like guys, we don't care about height. We a giantess and an Amazonian, like fine, we'll do it. You know, a 4 foot like a midget, like we would, or a little person, sure, we don't discriminate. But with fictional characters, if you see a short character and you're like, wow, I think that short character is kind of hot, they're like, you're a PDF, like Sparkle. I don't think like I'm pretty sure Sparkle is of age.
Yeah, she is.
She's fictional, so there's an argument where it's like she's fictional. Who gives a shit? But if you say a fictional character is hot, and then they turn around and they go, actually, she's underage, and either A, she's not, and she's just short, it doesn't matter, they're gonna call you a PDF anyway. And then if she actually is underage, and you go, oh, my bad, I thought she was just short, you're still a PDF. And they're still gonna run with that on Twitter. And then if you suddenly don't have a voice, and people are calling you a PDF, you gotta come on the microphone and be like, guys, what? It's misunderstanding. It's out of context. I didn't.
Yeah.
You gotta understand. Because that's the thing. Like I saw Yun Li's portrait from she was kind of like out of focus, like it was like a small JPEG. So I literally thought that she was just a short character not wearing pants, and I was just like, I'm sold. And then people were like, you do know that she's like the same age as Yang Xing or whatever, and he's 12. And I was just like, okay, never mind.
Isn't he 14, by the way?
It's not that much better.
Make it yeah, it's not that much better.
It's not that much better.
It's really like 14.
But then you get people that are just like, actually, it's lolly, and that's not a bad thing. And then now you're the guy that has to defend lolly.
Yeah, now you're the guy that fucking hangs around with the lolicons.
Yeah, and it's just like, now you have to like research what lolicon. It's also the Dr. Disrespect thing. Like, you're trying to like research like what the age of consent is, and it's like, now you're the guy researching the age of consent.
Yeah, that's like inherently bad optics.
Yeah.
Inherently.
Because I'm totally into like older women, but like with fictional characters, you don't like, first of all, you're not even thinking about the age of a fictional character. You're just like, oh, this character is like cute or hot. And if you say a character is cute and she looks underage, you're a PDF. If you say a chick is short and she's hot, they go, you're a PDF. And it's like, you can't say anything on the internet.
You know what the secret is to being uncancelable is to be unironically, it's to be open with cancelable opinions. Like, take me. I'm the Gummy guy. Gummy is like a 16 canonically. I'm the Huohuo guy. You've seen Huohuo. And if someone tries to like cancel me on Twitter, they're like, well, guys, Gummy is underage. This guy, he's simping for an underage character. Everyone in the comments, he's gonna be like, yeah, it's super. What were you expecting? And then they move on. Unironically, it's like a shield. It's like it gives you a shield against the cancellation.
I think that's kind of like what Tectone was leaning into too. Like, he was just king of the gooners. But that's the problem, is that like now people are like, oh, maybe he's taking it out on actual humans, and that's the other thing too. It's like when they treat fictional characters like real people, and like if you make fan art of a character and they're like, actually the character's gay, they can't be straight. It's like, so you think that fictional characters are real people? So that's the other thing too. Like, if you think that a short character looks underage and therefore you're a PDF, and you're treating a fictional character like a real person, doesn't that mean that the fictional character would get older? So if the fictional character was made in 2005 and she was like 18 in 2005, then she's like 32 now or something. So
yeah, that's fair actually.
So it's like, there's no principled stance on fictional characters either. Like, you know how many people that are like in love with Raven from Teen Titans? And it's like, are you gonna not be attracted to goth girls because like Raven is only like 17 in the show or something? Like, no, people
I don't know about the Teen Titans.
Yeah, like that's the other thing too. Like, if you're thinking about the age of a fictional character, doesn't that make you weird too?
Yeah, kind of implicitly. If you look at characters and your first thought is, oh, how old are they? That's kind of suspicious. Like, on the face of it.
Yeah, and this this clip in itself is going to get clipped, and it's gonna be put around in places, and but it is funny how ironic it is, where like you're talking about how talking about the age of consent is weird, and in talking about how it's weird. You can't win.
Yeah.
You can't talk about anything without it being weird. So that's why you have to just be like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, fucking, you're gonna talk about shit that might sound weird out of context too. I don't know what to tell you. And that's how people are getting too. Like, with Dr. Disrespect, like, he didn't seem to lose that much, and he just got to deal with Rumble. So it's like, I don't know. People
then again, who the fuck is Rumble? Then again.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like, people are like, oh, you should get in Rumble. But I did that too. Like, I was like, well, I don't want to get banned on YouTube and lose all my work, so I'll make a Rumble account. Nobody's on Rumble. Nobody's watching it.
Yeah, it's kind of a nobody platform.
And it was funny too, because like people in the videos are like, don't say Rumble because it'll get shadow banned and people won't watch the video. I'm like, people aren't even Rumble itself is shit. No one's on it. Unless you're Tucker Carlson. No one's watching your videos on Rumble.
It's kind of like what was the name of that streaming service that started having deals with like a Ninja?
Mixer.
Yeah, Mixer, and then it vanished completely.
Yeah, it's like how everybody has to have their own game platform. They can't just use Steam. They have to have Origin and Battle.net, and now Battle.net games are now on Steam anyway, so it's like, oh, you could have done this the entire time.
Yeah, they just go to Steam anyway after a while.
Yeah, the sales start to drop, and they're like, okay, we need to get more people in here immediately. Put the game on Steam.
Do you know that, like, the Epic Game Store, like, is still not profitable? Like, it was never profitable for Epic?
Yeah, I mean, I have to assume that the only thing that's making money is Fortnite.
Yeah, that's why they leaned so hard with Fortnite this year. They, like, completely revamped the entire game.
Oh, yeah, dude, every time I see a clip from Fortnite, I'm like, this is still... Like, this is Fortnite? Like, every single character from anything ever is in Fortnite. And, like, there's
honestly,
a new...
that's really cool. Honestly, I like that. I dig that. I dig that. I fuck with that.
I mean, it's kind of like Arknights. I mean, Arknights is constantly... I mean, we just had an event where you're playing a tower defense game and also playing soccer at the same time.
Yeah, it keeps reinventing itself, yeah.
And I told Quirk, I was like, can you imagine if Call of Duty had a mode where you had to, like, slide and kick soccer balls into nets and stuff? I'm like, here we are with Arknights. Arknights is doing more to innovate on gaming than Call of Duty, a franchise that's been around for 40 years almost at this point. And every Call of Duty, and speaking about how games take up so much space, how can a game that's barely different than the game that they just released a year ago have 500 more gigs of storage? Well, it makes no sense.
Because it's the same game again, but made even lazier. Like, they got even lazier this year, which means it's optimized worse.
Yeah, but it's crazy how nothing has changed. They put more, like, now you can, like, run full sprint sideways, and it's like, it took you guys 20 years to figure out how to get a character to sprint in 3D, like, you know, in 3D, like, and fully sprint forward and side to side. It took you 20 years to innovate on that. Arknights has been around for 6 years, and it has a new mechanic, like, every patch. It's crazy.
Yeah, did you see the new mode in the CN server, where, like, you can put down multiple duplicates of the same operator?
No, I heard that apparently we're going to be getting chess, though.
Yeah, auto chess. It's auto chess.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is. Like, Quirk said that it's kind of like that League of Legends game mode or whatever, and I haven't even looked into that at all.
It's like auto chess. Okay, so how auto chess works, it's like tower defense, but even less involved. You place every unit at the start, and then you just press play.
Oh, so is it just kind of like old school tower defense?
No, because in old school tower defense, you can still place units during the stage, right? In auto chess, you place everything at the start, and then you just let the stage run.
Okay. Does everything upgrade itself, or do you still have to upgrade things?
Yeah, you upgrade the things, like, in the middle of the stages.
I'll have to look into it more, because, yeah, like, it's the double-sided sword with, or as Norm Macdonald would say, the sword of it, is that having a CN server where you're behind 6 months, it's like, yeah, great, I have to wait 6 months to get the cool thing, but you're still getting, like, the last cool thing. Like, we got W Alter, and, like, yeah, they have Lapland Alter, but we had W Alter, that's still something, and now we have something to look forward to. Cool. And the other cool thing, I don't know how it works really with China, but, like, some games have, I think Azur Lane does that. They have a global server and a CN server, because the CN server has more censorship.
Yeah.
So there are benefits and cons to having 2 different servers, but I don't even know who the next character is that I'm supposed to roll for.
Honestly, this year, up until Lapland, they're kind of all underwhelming, except the next one, which is Ulpianus. But the thing with Ulpianus is that he's part of an archetype where, like, the gimmick is that they have 0 defense. So they just get shredded by anything.
Oh, so he's like a glass cannon, I guess?
Yeah, he's a glass cannon, and he's a skill 3. He can, like, jump around the map. He's the only operator that can, like, go to another tile.
Oh, yeah, that was
while he's on the field.
That was the cool thing about Icebreaker, is, like, seeing all the different characters that have summons. And, like, this one character summoned, like, a giant, like, black wraith. And I was just like, what the hell character is that? I don't know, but it's saving my ass. But, like, is there any character in this game that, like, lets you, like, draw like lines between your units to make like DOT, like laser type damage.
Let me think. There is an event mechanic that is like that.
Yeah, kind of like the chains from Babel.
Yeah. I meant a different event mechanic though. But no, there is no operator like that. Not yet, at least.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, tower defense, there is a lot of potential with tower defense games. I feel like there's a lot of the potential with a lot of games that we're just not doing anything with. Yeah,
that's why the indie scene has been exploding so much. People are finally starting to vote with their wallets, and it's fucking incredible. I love it.
I love the idea of going back to PlayStation 1 graphics, because like there are people that have never played PlayStation 1, so it's like a completely like new art style to them. So you can introduce them to like the history of gaming by showing them something that they've never even seen before. Like if you show them Call of Duty, they're just like, oh yeah, it's just Call of Duty. Every Call of Duty is Call of Duty. But like, you know, if somebody played Resident Evil 8 and then they went back and played the original Resident Evil, it's like a completely, not only is it a different genre, like now Resident Evil is like first person, like to go back to where it was fixed camera angles, like, you know, and tank controls, it's like a completely different way of playing a game, and it's like something that a lot of people are never going to experience. But that's the cool thing with indies. And also, like all the RPG Maker games that are out there, like there's so many RPG Maker games of people that were just in their room and just made a whole game by themselves. Even the guy that made Lethal Company, like Lethal Company was made by one guy.
Bro, wanna talk about like Undertale? That was made by one guy too.
I've never actually played through all of Undertale.
It's really good. Like, it lives up to the hype. It definitely lives up to the hype.
I was interested in it because it seemed like it was kind of like Earthbound, like a spiritual successor to Earthbound. But it's kind of,
I never played Earthbound. Like, so I'm judging it on its own merit because I never played Earthbound. It's good. It lives up to the hype.
Earthbound is kind of like more of an artsy game than a game. Because it's
I saw some gameplay.
Yeah, like the save mechanic, like you have to go to a payphone and call your dad, and then you have to listen to your dad yap. And
that's
it was
kind of like Resident Evil, though, that you need to go to the save room and use the writing machine.
But it's cute.
At higher difficulties, you actually need an item to fill the writing machine, otherwise you can't fucking save.
Yeah, I love that though. Like I love that they kept that alive in the remakes.
Yeah. Because that's iconic. Like that's, you can't take that off. That off. It's iconic.
I'm the kind of person that like, I don't really like playing PvP games. I like playing PvE.
Oh, I hate PvP. I hate PvP.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm in the mood for one, I'll play one for like a good solid like month. But I like playing PvE games as PvP games. Like I had this idea of playing through, like, have my friend and we both start up a new save in Resident Evil. And we try to see how far one can get, because in most of the old school Resident Evil games, there's a lot of moments where like a hallway is flooded with zombies and now you can't use that hallway anymore. Or in the Resident Evil 1 remake, there's a doorknob that if you use the doorknob 3 times, the doorknob falls off and you can't use that door anymore.
That's fucking mean. That's just mean.
Yeah, and then there's a mode that you get when you beat the game that makes it so that none of the item boxes are linked. So anything you put in one item box, it stays there until you take it out. And
that's actually cool.
I was like, this would be so cool to do like competitive Resident Evil, where 2 people start up the same save, maybe as the same character, maybe as separate characters, and they try to see who can get farther in like the hardest mode. And my friend was just like, no, I don't want to. I only want to play PvP games as PvP games. And I'm like, well, you're not thinking outside the box.
Lame.
Yeah, like you can, like, it's like, or like how people play Star Rail, they do Memory of Chaos as PvP.
Yeah, they do that in Arknights too, with IS. There is like IS tournaments in Arknights.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love stuff like it. Or like even speedrunning. Like I don't have the attention span to speedrun, but I love speedruns. Like if I could watch speedrun content for like a month straight. Like I started watching I started watching like the history of Simpsons hit and run speedruns. And I was like, okay, now I'm going to be watching this video for the next, I'm going to be watching it like pieces for like the next 3 weeks.
That's a really good video.
Yeah, like or like Jack and or no, I think Legend of Zelda Wind Waker was the first game that I watched speedruns for, and then I started watching like Jack and Daxter speedruns, and I was just like, I'm gonna get sucked into all of these different games. Even The Hobbit, like they speedran The Hobbit on GameCube.
I saw that too.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like it's literally like you love a game so much that you'll play it to the point of it not even like it doesn't even look like the game that you started with. Like you've taken it apart. You know the game so in depth that you've unmade the game. You know how to break the game and play parts of it that aren't supposed to be played.
Yeah, some other great speedruns, there's Hollow Knight and Celeste. Those are some incredible speedruns as well.
Oh, I think I watched a video about a guy who was what do you call it? He was faking his Hollow Knight speedrun, and they found out because they could detect splices in the audio. They did that with Super Mario 64 runs too.
Yeah, there was a lot of cheaters in Hollow Knight, like for some reason.
Yeah, because like with speedruns, you kind of have to be frame perfect, and if you're frame perfect, then the editing has to be perfect if you're gonna fake it.
Very often it isn't, and sometimes they get caught for the. I love when a cheater gets caught because of like the smallest little detail. Like in Mario 64, they found out that Mario's blinking is on a set timer.
Yeah.
And like thanks to that, they found a bunch of cheaters. Like, oh my god.
Yeah. Do you remember? It was this summer. That chick that was faking the blindfolded Monster Hunter runs.
Oh my god, don't tell me about Monster Hunter. I have 1,400 hours in Monster Hunter World.
I've never been able to get into a Monster Hunter game because they always release a new Monster Hunter game. Like by the time I'm just like, hey, maybe I should try out Monster Hunter. There's a new Monster Hunter. But
I mean, there's like a 4-year gap between each game.
That's what's annoying is like just when I start thinking about Monster Hunter again.
Well, okay, then Wilds, Monster Hunter Wilds is coming out this February.
Yeah, and it's got that hot big titted shit.
Yeah, you wanna know why it has that character? You wanna know why?
Huh.
Because in Monster Hunter World, in every game you get a handler, which is this woman NPC that like follows you around and it gives you the quests. And in World, it was such an annoying fucking character that everyone hated it. And ever since then, they just put anime waifus as your companions.
Capcom is so weird. Like, they censored cleavage in one of their fighting games. I think it was like SNK, one of the newer SNK games. They censored cleavage after they put Lady Dimitrescu in Resident Evil 8. And it's like, Capcom, you know what we want. Why do you, like, Capcom confuses the hell out of me. Like, they butcher, Dead Rising, and they make Frank West ugly, but then they put a giant big titty waifu in Monster Hunter World. It's like, what are you people doing to me? Like, why can't you just do everything that makes sense? Why do you ruin...
That's like very different people making those games.
That's the thing too. Like they like Resident Evil 3 remake. They sold it out to like a third-party studio, and it's barely even a remake of the original. Like it barely resembles it. Like 2
it's more like a DLC. It's more like a DLC.
Yeah, that's what everybody says too, and that's what I said too when I was playing it. I was like, this should not have been a $60 game. But like, oh, what was I gonna say? Oh, the chick that was faking the Monster Hunter speedrun, or the blindfolded run. The whole time I was listening to it, I was just like, how? She's gotta be faking it. And then when she like quote unquote proved herself, then she went with like the whole feminist angle where she was just like, you guys are just mad because you got beaten by a girl. And I was like, oh my god, if she's not faking this, like I guess she totally deserves to say that line, but like if she's faking and she just played the feminism card, like I'm gonna be so fucking mad, because it's like,
that's what they all do. That's every time someone from like a minority group or like that's a woman, they do something bad and they wanna get out of it. They try to play these kinds of characters.
Yeah, and then what was so annoying was like when you finally figured out that the reason why they proved that she was faking it was when she was showing her setup and she was like, this is the blindfold, here's my monitor, here's my controller, here's my hands. And then obviously people in the comments were like, well, show your feet. We have to see the feet. Otherwise you're faking it. But
yeah, who knows? Maybe you have a pedal down there that tells you information.
But the way that they figured it out was she showed off her monitors, but she didn't show off every monitor. And she was looking out of the corner of the blindfold at her fourth monitor that was off camera. And that was like, and she was watching the game through OBS. And that's how she knew where the monster was.
Yeah, and they figured it out because she replied to chat by accident.
Yeah, she looked over to her chat monitor, which was the monitor that she didn't mention, and I was just like, oh, that's... And that's the thing. At that point, I didn't even care that she pulled the feminism card. I just loved that the case was solved. I was like, thank you. Thank you. I love that moment when you finally solved the puzzle. And you
fucking Conan, fucking Detective Conan.
Yeah, it's so great. Like when you finally get, it's like, oh, I love when a scammer gets caught. I don't understand why Jake Paul isn't in prison, but that's another story. Guy on camera, like pump and dump scheme after pump and dump scheme, and with KSI too. And none of them ever see jail time. It's almost like if you have money, the laws don't apply to you.
No, it's more like, it's not that the laws don't apply to them, it's that the area where they do their scams, it's unregulated. There is no law covering that specific area, so they can just do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't understand about cryptocurrency. Everyone's like, oh, cryptocurrency is the future because it can't be tracked by the government. Doesn't it all go to a wallet? Like, don't they have the addresses and everything? Like, isn't it still tracked?
Yeah, it is still tracked, but it's not regulated. That's the main difference. It's not regulated, which means scammers fucking love it. Because it means there is no law that says what they're doing is illegal.
Yeah, because what confuses me is, like, if the government, basically, I assume any government can just step in and say, we're not accepting cryptocurrency for cash. And if we catch you using cryptocurrency, we're throwing you in jail. I assume any country can do that. So I don't get how you transfer Bitcoin to American currency or any currency, really, and then use it. Like, it's all magic to me. And then the fact that
the economy is made up. Like, ultimately, the economy is some shit we made up. So
yeah,
that's how that works.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, money only matters to people that care about it. Like, if tomorrow nobody accepted cash anymore, it would be, okay, we use beans or rice or something.
Yeah.
Or bottle caps.
Yeah, bottle caps. Absolutely.
But yeah, that's what's it's like. Yeah, like I get that. Like if nothing is financially insured, like if your bank gets robbed, they can't take the money out of your account to repay the bank. And I get that. And like we don't have that kind of law for cryptocurrency because most of the world doesn't even accept that cryptocurrency is real. But yeah, it's just
did you see that video of like the guy fucking dying and dashed? And when the police got up to them and was like, "Hey, dude, did you try to dine and dash? Like, what's up here?" And he was like, "No, dude, I'm going to pay with crypto. I got my day trading account, bro." It was so silly. It was so silly.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, if the place that you're going to doesn't accept cryptocurrency, then you can't use the cryptocurrency. So it's like you have all this cryptocurrency, but you still have to turn it into American or, with the local currency. So it seems weird. And it's also so, like you said, it's so ripe for scamming that it amazes me that people still put their money into it. But they put their money into it because other people put their money into it. So they're like, well, there's all this money. I'd be leaving it on the table if I didn't try.
It's equal parts societal pressure and people just being plain stupid. Like, did you see that pastor that scammed with cryptocurrency? And after he got sent to court for the scam, he made a video being like, we trusted the Lord. The Lord told me to put money in this cryptocurrency. And all the comments were like, oh yeah, we get it. Bless you. We're praying for you. It's like, what do you mean? What? How can you be so fucking stupid?
Yeah, I remember that one, the guy from the super church that they called him out because they were like, why do you, if you're a man of God, why do you have all these $1 million jets? Why do you have to fly around on these jets? And like, I guess his argument was like, well, I have to get the message to the people. I have to go to the people. I have to, and Taylor Swift gets the same thing where she's like, oh, climate change. But yes, she has a private jet. She's flying all over the world so that she can continue to be a billionaire. And
Taylor Swift goes on like a flight to go like to the supermarket. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, and she's also got like, you know, all the different vehicles and everything, and she probably has multiple vehicles because she has to avoid paparazzi and everything. And it's like these people, and then when you call them out on it, they go, well, what do you expect? They're philanthropists. They're going out and they're helping people. They're singing them songs. I mean, it's like if I wouldn't pay $5 for somebody to sing a song to me. Like billionaires for singing songs, and they have to take a private jet. I don't know.
I mean, is it a really good song?
Yeah, but it's also the other thing too. Like if you have to take a private jet, fine. But like to tell people that they can't have a car. You have a private jet and you're telling people that they can't have a car. That's
just hypocrisy. That's just for like the optics of it. You want to look good for like the media headlines that they will report that, oh, you said this thing. Isn't it so magnanimous?
That's what I can't stand. Like saying I can't bring myself to say something that I don't want to say, because then people will just want me to say the thing. Like if I come out and like if I were to make like I tried some like that, like the Dr. Disrespect thing. I made like one video about Dr. Disrespect. I was about to make 2, but then I was like, I'm gonna be a guy that makes videos about Dr. Disrespect for the rest of my life. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to say something about every single thing. That's also one of the reasons why I put that disclaimer at the end of my videos, is because I don't want people to think that like every single thing that I say is 100% the truth. And like, sure, people aren't going to read a disclaimer if they don't believe that I'm telling a joke, then the disclaimer doesn't matter. But like, that's the thing. It's like, I don't want to be known as like I don't want to be known as the authority on anything. Like, this is the internet. Can we go back to being just funny on the internet?
I'm gonna parody that disclaimer in the next video. I'm gonna parody that. I'm gonna put like SUPAH is not a character. He is a role model. Every joke, opinion, and comment is to be taken 100% seriously.
That would be great.
And below that, I'm gonna put like, he's the only person you can trust.
Because you know that somebody in my comment section is gonna be like, SUPAH took it. He took your thing. He did the thing. But like, that's kind of why I like doing the Filthy Frank voice, because I feel like Filthy Frank was like the best. That was like when YouTube was still YouTube. And when he quit doing the Filthy Frank voice, or like quit doing the Filthy Frank persona, it's like, okay, I guess YouTube is over then. Because like,
to be fair, he's a lot better off now. He's doing a lot better.
He's making way more. And I tried listening to his music. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of his music.
It's not just the money thing. He just seems like genuinely happier to do
yeah, if you do that voice for he had to do that voice for like hours on end, like all the multiple takes and everything. And then he was also doing like jackass stunts with Max and I think Chad is his name. I can't remember the big guy's name. But like, that was when YouTube, you could still be a character on YouTube. And like, he said the N-word, he said like every slur, and nobody cared because they knew that he was doing a bit. And it's like, yeah, like, I'm not going to be out here saying that we should be able to say slurs again, but that's the thing. It's like, if you're doing a character, like, nobody thinks that Robert De Niro is actually a mobster. I mean, he might think that he's actually a mobster because he's been playing a mobster his whole life, but nobody thinks that Al Pacino was actually, like, Al Pacino he died in Godfather because he was actually, Michael Corleone. Like, people can be a character and say things that they don't mean 100% of the time. But not on the internet anymore. On the internet, if you say something and somebody takes it the wrong way, if you make a mistake and say that...
I think it's because the current era of the internet, it's a lot about the cult of personality. You know, people follow you because you have a cool personality, and they want like you. So everything you say gets associated to you. That's
the thing with like politics too. Like if you say something that's like slightly political, you talk about something that's political, you're now that guy. So now you're expected to have that type of take on every single thing. So like if you say that like you're like for like gun ownership or something, you're now like a racist. You want women to don't want women to be able to get abortions. You want you get
lumped with the entirety of the right wing if you do that, yeah.
Or like if you say you like do you remember when the Stellar Blade controversy? There was a guy and nobody talks about him. Like this was probably the only time anyone will ever talk about him. But there was a clip of a guy that said that Stellar Blade was for conservatives, and I'm like, what? I don't even remember. I don't remember his name. I want to say that he was related to Kotaku in some way. But he said that Stellar Blade was for conservatives, and if you like Stellar Blade, then you're a right-winger. And I'm like, I don't think there's anything about Stellar Blade that's conservative. Like Eve is not, burning down Planned Parenthoods. Like she's just a hot character with a nice ass. And that's how brain rotted people are, because I guess if you like a female character that has perfect proportions, then that means that you're for objectifying women. And because right-wing extremists don't want women to get abortions and they just want women to be sex toys, then if you say that you like a woman, then you must also want to objectify her and make her into a sex toy. Therefore, you're a conservative. Therefore, you voted for Donald Trump. Therefore, you're a racist, Nazi, Hitler dictator. And it's like, I think we made a lot of assumptions.
Yeah, I think there's a few steps we skipped.
Yeah, it's crazy. It all goes back to Twitter. Like when
Obviously, it all comes back to Twitter.
When Twitter was just Ricky Gervais talking about like making fun of people who take pictures of their food and post it online, it was perfectly fine. Like I didn't care if somebody I went to high school with a chick. And I thought she was attractive, and people were like, "Oh, she's a conservative," and I didn't even know what that meant. I'm like, "Oh, I can't be attracted to her anymore because she's a conservative." I never asked her politics. I didn't care. Like we went to school together. We were just people back then. I didn't even know what a conservative was. But now, if you haven't,
back then, conservatives weren't as batshit insane as they are now. So.
Well, that was the thing. Like conservatives, when I was growing up, they were just losing their power. Like it was a huge thing. Like Howard Stern was going to war against George Bush because his administration was trying to get him off the airwaves because Howard Stern was too offensive. So and Howard Stern considered himself middle of the road or kind of conservative. Like he would claim that he was conservative, but no one really cared. Now he considers himself a far left guy, but he was always against evangelical Christian censorship. But now it's not the Christian conservatives, they gave up. They basically gave up and they didn't really care anymore. But now it's if you have an opinion on Twitter, you're a conservative. And it's so weird. It's you could agree with 9 out of 10 things, but if you say one thing that's conservative, now you're a Nazi.
Well, I understand, at the very least, I understand why people are so wary of conservative opinions, right? Why it's such a red flag nowadays. I can at least understand that, because of the right-wing extremists that want to kill everybody and hate joy and fun. So, I could understand why someone could say it as a red flag. But yeah, lumping in with the entire group, that's not a good thing.
They'll say things like that, like Asmongold. They say that Asmongold's a Nazi, and
to be fair, that fucking comment about the genocide, inferior. That's
see, that's the thing.
That's not good optics.
Yeah, I kind of understood what his reasoning was for it. He was trying to say that the extremists, he doesn't care if the extremists die. But that's the thing. It's like, you talk for a living. Eventually, you're going to say something stupid. But that's the thing about... The reason why Asmongold's so easy to hate is because he is such a hypocrite. Like, he's so out of touch. Like, yeah, sure, he lives like a roach king, like a lich king. But sometimes his opinions are so out of the ballpark. But that's the thing. It's like when you say, that Stellar Blade is for conservatives because it's got a hot woman in it. So like, you're saying that like, if you like hot women, you must be a straight conservative. What about all of the people that hate Donald Trump but also like women? Like, or the people that voted for Donald Trump, but they don't agree with 100% of his policies. Like, they just felt like...
Or like the guys that are just ignorant. Did you see the Google Trends after the elections?
Oh yeah, they didn't know that...
the Google Trends, like, what is a tariff? Can I change my vote?
The one that was crazy was like that nobody knew that Biden wasn't running.
Oh my god.
And it's like, how did you not know? Like, it was a huge thing. Like, he did a debate, and then they were like, oh, I don't think he can run again. And then he dropped out and endorsed Kamala. It's like, why did you think that Kamala was running? Like, nobody, like, I don't get how people vote and they don't know what's going on.
It's just ignorance. I feel like the US has somewhat of a culture of, like, uneducation. Like, I don't know if that's just me, but it really feels like a lot of US citizens.
That is basically what's going on here.
Yeah, there's just this culture of, like, purposely staying ignorant.
Yeah, because that's why I like being a character online. Like, if I make a video, like, I've done that a couple times. Like, I'll make a video and I'll be like, this is a stupid mechanic and I don't understand. And then people are like, you idiot, you just read. And then
that's Sui. That was Sui.
And then I can make a new video. Yeah, I can make a new video where I go, guys, I made a mistake. I have to correct the record.
I've had a severe and continuous lapse in judgment.
Yeah, and it's like, that's what the internet should be. Like, I don't want people, like, the idea of, like, a guy said one thing wrong one time, so now anytime he's on the screen, you have to shake your fist and go, damn you! Like Tectone, like, anytime Tectone makes a joke about, like, banging Robin from Honkai Star Rail, it's, he's doing it again! He's talking about a fictional character! And then, like I said,
can you believe it? This fucking guy.
Yeah, and then it comes full circle to, like, okay, so when he does something that's actually bad, no one's gonna believe it.
Like, you know, the very topical allegations.
Yeah, like I said, like, I cannot wait to find out. Like, it's kind of like that Monster Hunter thing. It's like, I know something's going on here, and I can't wait to get to the bottom of it. And that's the other thing too. If he actually, and that's the other thing too. If he actually did do it, that's gonna be crazy. Like, like Tectone won't be around anymore. Like, that's huge. Love him or hate him, that would be huge.
It's like, you know, I've been thinking about this situation. How do you even prove it? That happened, you know?
Yeah, unless she recorded it. If she recorded it, that'd be wild.
Yeah, if you have, like, the recording of Tectone forcing you to give him a blowjob, that's crazy.
Because I wonder if you can do that. I wonder, because like, you hear all the time about, like, cops entrapping people. But, like, if she recorded him actually doing it, and then he goes, I'm going to take you to court if you don't apologize, and then she doesn't apologize, he takes her to court, and in court, they find out that she has proof, and they actually get to put him in jail, that would be insane. But I don't know if you're allowed to do that. Like, are you allowed to not report a crime and then wait for them to commit another crime and then...
No, you need... okay, so if we're talking about a court, you can't, like, present new evidence in the middle of a trial. You need to present everything before the trial starts.
Yeah, so
if
like...
she has a recording, she has to show it before the trial.
Yeah, because that's what Discovery is. So, like, if they found in Discovery that they had the evidence, I think that's when they would go to him and go, listen, we have the evidence. She wants $45 million, or we're taking you to court. And then at that point, but I heard that apparently all of his money is in stocks. So I don't know if he's gonna be able to settle. Yeah,
that's kind of rough. That's a little rough.
Because he went on a podcast. He was just like, yeah, I'm buying GameStop because GameStop spiked again. So he bought a bunch of GameStop stock, and then he bought a new house, and then he was just like, yeah, I don't have any money right now. He said that he's in 6-digit territory. So like he was under $1 million, and he was gloating a couple days ago about being a multimillionaire, making $2 million a year. And then he was just like, I'm hurting. I only have 6 figures right now. I'm like, oh, okay. Another out of touch guy.
Yeah, it's so sad like to see the transformation in real time. You know, you get with these YouTubers, you get to see it in real time. If you've been following them from the start, you can see them become the out of touch millionaire.
And it's weird too, because like I don't know how you get like if I always say that I'll never be a millionaire. If I had $1 million, I would be so relaxed. Like, I would be doing the same thing that I'm doing now, but I would just have that money in my bank account, and I'd be like, all right, I never have to worry. I never have to make a video that I don't believe in. I never have to say something I don't believe in. I could just relax. Like, I would probably have to, like, invest some of that money so that it doesn't just, like, completely lose, like, all of its spending power, like, through inflation and everything. But, like, the things that people do, like, when people are like Jake Paul has to have 500 different projects and crypto scams. It's like, dude, you don't need 500 projects and crypto scams. You never have to work a day in your life. Like, your kids don't have to work a day in their life. And you're still doing stuff you don't have to do. It's crazy.
It's just greed at that point, because once you're at the top, you start thinking, well, what if I got even higher, you know?
Yeah, because like I can understand the sentiment of like I'm at the top, so I don't ever want to be at the bottom again. But there are some people that are just like, how high can I go? And that's the problem.
That's a trap a lot of rich people fall into.
And that's
and
one of
then it goes into exploitation and shit like that. I think I lost this one. I think I lost this one.
That's what I keep hearing people like whenever you criticize something, people go, well, that's capitalism, and I'm like, no, it's greed. And greed's going to exist anywhere, in any system. It doesn't even have to be like communism. It could be like...
Yeah, but to be fair, capitalism like encourages greed. Like it suits itself to greed because it's a system based on infinite growth.
Yeah, but I'm afraid that like if we changed it to something else, like there would still be a hierarchy. There'd still be people that abuse that system too.
Obviously.
Because that's the thing, like when people have conversations like this, they go like, well, we just need to get rid of capitalism and just go to communism. It's like, well, can't we like talk about a middle ground? Like, it's never a middle ground. It's never just like, hey, can we take the things that work from both parties? And they're like, no, we just have to get rid of one party and put the other one in power. And it's like, yeah, but what if that party becomes corrupt? Well, it can't become corrupt because I'm a part of it. And I'm a good guy. It's like, yeah, a lot of people in history thought that they were the good guys. Genghis Khan thought he was a good guy.
You know what that reminds me of? Have you ever heard about like accelerationism?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to say the exact. I have the idea of what it means.
Okay, so basically, accelerationism is the idea that things have to get worse before they get better. So, like, the idea is to just destroy society and start over. And the fallacy there is that everyone thinks that their ideology is gonna rise from the ashes of the destroyed society. Which is how you said that everyone thinks they're the good guy.
It's and that's from everything. That's like marriage. That's like a fight with your friend. Like, and people fight over like the smallest things too. Like he owes me $5. I'm never talking to him ever again. And you just extrapolate that on a massive scale. I mean, the best example is when Obama told Trump that he would never become president, and now Trump is president twice. It's like that love him or hate him, that is an incredible story. The president of the United States told you would never become the president, and then you do it twice, and you get shot in the head and live. That's incredible.
And you acted in Home Alone 2.
That's the really incredible thing.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy, I know.
Surviving a shot to the head because you looked a little bit to the right at the last second, that's child's play. Can you be in Home Alone?
I swear those fucking shooters that tried to get him, I swear they They're like stormtroopers from Star Wars.
Well, the first guy, he actually like he got unbelievably close, and then the second guy, like he just did not have a plan at all. He's like, all right, I'm gonna put all.
Went in with a gun.
Yeah, I'm gonna put all of my shit in this bush. I'm gonna bring body armor. Not gonna put it on. And then I'm gonna stick my barrel out the bush. Not get a single shot off. Get shot at. And profit? I don't know what his plan was.
It's so sloppy that I've seen a lot of people think that it was like a setup, like a fake assassination.
Yeah, I remember that too. That he faked it to make himself look better.
Yeah, because it was so sloppy and poorly done.
That first one, it was incredible. Like I was at my computer when I saw it pop up on YouTube, and it was like just as it was breaking, and I read the headline as Donald Trump shot and killed, but it was just Donald Trump shot, but my brain read that he was killed, and then I was like, oh my god, like the first assassination in like 30 years in this country. I'm alive for history. And then I watched the footage, and it's just he turns and they take the top of his ear off, and then he starts pumping his fist, and I was like, this is incredible. Like, no matter what you think about it, like, that is incredible optics.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why he won the assassinations. Like,
but imagine,
genuinely.
because like the funny thing is too, before people were saying that they actually thought that it was a setup, I made a joke about that. Like, I was like, imagine if he just bent down and grabbed some ketchup and put it on his ear. I was like, imagine if he did. It'd be the greatest scam ever. And like, he gets caught. Like, imagine, like, it would be as crazy him surviving as if he actually faked it and they caught him faking it. It would be just as hilarious. And I would be just as amazed.
Like, imagine if he fakes his death, and then he does like the Undertaker. Hold on, I'm gonna send you a gif.
Or like Jesus, like he's like, I told you I was Jesus. I told you. I came back from the dead.
He does this with the coffin.
Oh my god.
At the funeral, he just stands up from the coffin.
Yeah. And he just goes, I have the best fake deaths. Okay, frankly. No one can do it like me.
No US president could fake his death like me.
That says Abraham Lincoln. Has anyone faked their death like me, quite frankly? Everything is Abraham Lincoln. Nobody cooks a steak like me, except maybe Abraham Lincoln.
He's like Gojo. He's like a Gojo. Where it's like, in the manga, in the Jujutsu manga, it's like, he is the strongest except Gojo Satoru.
Yeah, I never, I'm so behind on anime. The last anime that I can remember that I watched, I think it was Parasite the Maxim.
Like when it came out?
Yeah, that was the last one, because I think Tokyo Ghoul, everybody says the anime is horrible. I actually I liked it though. Like, I have a soft spot for anime that's very like emotional. Like Kingdom Hearts 2. We've been yapping for like 2 hours straight. Kingdom Hearts 2, like the whole story of like Sora isn't really Sora and Roxas isn't really Roxas, and Sora has been searching for his girlfriend, like his life, like his soulmate, and he can never seem to get to her, and he's always trying to save her. I was like 8 years old when those games came out, and I was like, what is this that I'm feeling? What is this in my soul? What am I feeling? Is this emotion? What is this? And like Tokyo Ghoul kind of had that, like, especially like the opening theme. It's so like emotional and emotionally charged. And then the story is about a kid who like basically dies or nearly dies, and he becomes half human, half ghoul, and like the government's after him, and he gets captured and tortured, and they chop his fingers off, and his fingers keep regrowing, and then he becomes a villain. And I was like, this is such a multifaceted story. Even Berserk scarred the hell out of me. I was like, I can't believe that I'm seeing what I'm seeing.
Oh, I didn't read the Berserk or watch it.
Yeah, I mean, knowing that like the creator is dead and the story is never gonna have a real resolution, it kind of ruins it.
No, they're continuing. The Berserk is continuing under a different author, which is like the successor, like in JoJo.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I have not been keeping up with JoJo either. I've read all parts except for the 9. I didn't even realize that the 9
Yeah, I'm
part was
not
out.
keeping up with part 9 either. I finished part 8. I'm not keeping up with part 9.
Yeah, I'm kind of like I love JoJo, and I love the time that I spent reading it and watching it and everything. And the adaptations are so faithful, and the animation is so good. Like, I'm glad that they didn't cheap out and do 3D. Like, Berserk did that too. Like, we've never gotten a full, committed, animated, like, drawn animated Berserk. We always get, like, a shitty 3D one.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, I kind of, like, I don't want to know if I outgrew JoJo, or I just, like, I kind of got what I wanted out of it.
No, I think, personally, it's that part 8 was kinda weak, like, compared to every other part. It was kinda weak, part 8. Like, do we want to talk about Toru? Like, Toru is such a shit villain, and you can't have a shit villain in a JoJo that has such a legacy of incredible villains.
Yeah, like Dio, obviously, and then Kira, and then even Pucci, like Enrico Pucci, like
Pucci was good. Pucci gets slept on. Pucci gets slept on.
Yeah, I mean, his ability was to steal other people's abilities, and then he gets so powerful he splits the universe into a different timeline. And then even Valentine in part 7.
Yeah, the one right before Valentine. Yeah.
Bullet Train or whatever the stand was. And like
Dirty Deeds.
Yeah,
done
his stand is called Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. It was so Stardust Crusaders is just so great though.
You know, that's my mom's favorite part too, because yes, I watched the JoJo with my mom. She's a super fan at this point, like a JoJo super fan.
Yeah, it was so good. Just the comic relief. Araki must have known what he was gonna do with Star Platinum the entire time, because a lot of times when a character gets strong out of nowhere, it just feels like, well, he's the main character, he's supposed to get strong. But like, Jotaro's entire character is keeping calm under pressure, and his stand is all about like sheer power and overcoming, you know, odds with sheer strength of will and everything. And he has the ability to like be really fast. And the reason why he's able to slow down time is that he just becomes so determined, so angry, and so, like, experienced that Star Platinum is so fast that it basically slows down time. I was like, that is such a cool way to build a character without it feeling like, well, he's just the main character. Of course he's gonna get stronger when he needs it.
I do agree with that.
But I will say, though, that having the books in his shirt to stop the daggers, I was like, okay, that's coming out of nowhere. Like, there's no way. Unless you want to say that he had Star Platinum the world the entire time and he knew, but it's not like he can go. Well, actually, no. Like, he knows.
He must have had it the entire time, because otherwise he couldn't do that trick with the magnet.
The bullet at the beginning of the beginning of the arc. How did he grab the bullet if he couldn't stop time? Like,
Oh no, Star Platinum is genuinely that fast. That's not a time stop. He's genuinely that fast.
Yeah, that's why I thought that that's why he could stop time. Like, he's just so fast he can stop time. But it does get, his time stop does get stronger too, because like that was the whole point, that like he needed to stop time for exactly 6 seconds, but he could only stop it for 3 and then 4 and then 5 or whatever. Yeah, God, I love that. That arc is so great.
Honestly, be for real, the best part, Emo, it has to be 4. It has to be the best part.
Do you like the chase opening for the anime?
Okay, when I first heard it, I was like, man, what the fuck is this? Give me crazy bizarre town. But then, like, Oh, I get it now. It's because Kira is here. It's because Kira, like, narratively, changed the entire outlook of the Mario gang on the city. So now the chase opening reflects that. Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town is the gang being naive and seeing the city as this crazy, beautiful thing, but now that Kira is here, ooh. So it grew on me.
Yeah.
Now I've been enlightened.
I didn't even think about it like that. I just like it. I just like the tone of it. Because, like, my favorite Naruto opening, I think it's like opening 2 or 3. It's like really like bombastic. It kind of is like Chase, but I don't know. I like the tone of the. There might be like one out of like 20 JoJo openings that I don't like, but yeah, like that adaptation is so faithful, and like the production company just got the essence of JoJo so well. I love it's so good that it poisons all the other. Although Parasite the Maximum, I'd never read the manga, but I love the anime.
Honestly, with the JoJo animes, I feel like some parts are better in the anime. Like part 5 got improved so much in the anime, part 5.
Did you read part 5 when the translation was still kind of bad?
Yes.
Yeah, because I remember hating part 5. I got to the end of part 5 and I'm like, I don't know what, like, the stand makes no sense. I don't know what the hell is going on. And
maybe because, okay, King Crimson's ability is to, like, skip, like, it's like a video editing. But, like, that's already what manga panels do. Like, in the first place, that's already how a manga panel looks. So how the fuck do you show that in a manga panel? So it was really weird to get across in manga form. But in the anime, you can literally see it skip, and that came across a lot better.
Yeah, like the reason why I thought that part 5 was, I was just like, maybe I just have a bad translation. So I Googled it, and apparently it had a notoriously bad translation. And part 4 also had a notoriously bad translation, but it also had a normal, like, good translation. But apparently part 5 didn't have a good translation at the time. So if you got to King Crimson, you were just completely lost. And then once I figured out what King Crimson was, I was like, am I just being gaslit now? I still don't know what I'm like, I am understanding it, but I think I'm not understanding it.
It's not as difficult as people make it seem.
Yeah, like he basically just, he like takes the effect and deletes the cause, is basically...
Yeah, but that's a good way of saying it, but it doesn't really explain what he does. It's more like he can take 10 seconds, and in those 10 seconds, he is exempt from fate. Like, fate doesn't apply to him in those 10 seconds. And then, when those 10 seconds are up, they just get deleted completely.
Yeah, so, but that was the cool thing with JoJo villains, is like, they're extremely charismatic or enigmatic, and you don't know exactly what their goal is or whatever. And they always have a super overpowered ability, and you're like, how are they supposed to get out of this? But then there's always a reason as to why, like, there's always like one gimmick that they weren't using before, and that gimmick became stronger, and now they can use it to beat the boss. Like, I don't even remember how the end of part 7 went, but I just thought it was so cool that Enrico Pucci's ability got so strong that it rewrote the timeline, and now... Okay,
so basically, you mean part 6, not part 7.
Well, no. So, like, part 7, like, I don't remember how, because he can, like, pull people from different timelines with Dirty Deeds.
Okay, so how Dirty Deeds Done Their Chip works is that he can travel across different timelines, right? And he can take stuff from those timelines. And if he takes a person, and that person meets itself, they just clash and they stop existing. Later on, he gets Love Train, which is another ability. And Love Train, that's like a dimensional barrier that diverts all misfortune. So like nothing bad can happen to him, literally.
I remember liking Part 7. I just don't really remember anything that happened in it. Like,
it was really high concept. Part 7 was really high concept.
There was that one stand user who can walk on rain droplets, and I'm like, I don't know how this is going to be useful.
Oh, that was so cool, though. That was such
it was such a cool... When I saw that panel, I was like, what? Or like...
He's him. This guy might be him.
Yeah, I had that moment in Part 8 when Josuke... it's like really at the very beginning where like he's being attacked from upstairs, and he doesn't know like where the guy is, and then he realizes...
Oh, yeah.
And he uses soft and wet to steal the friction from the floor, and then the guy slips and falls. I was like, that's such a cool... I was like, Araki can still come up with cool concepts 20 years into his career.
Yeah, if Part 8 was kinda weak, but he cooked with the stands. Every Part 8 stand is so cool. Actually.
It did feel like it lost steam towards the end. Like, I was just like, okay, who's the villain? What are their motivations?
That's just because Toru is such an underwhelming villain. But the stand, like a Wonder of You, it's iconic. Like Wonder of You became iconic.
Yeah, that's just it's such a great... Yeah, I can't think of any other... I mean, yeah, besides Jujutsu Kaisen, people were telling me to read or watch Chainsaw Man, and I never did. I've never even watched Evangelion.
I haven't either.
I got 4 episodes in, and I was just like, I have a feeling this is one of those everybody dies anime, and I'm like, I'm really not into a everybody dies anime right now.
No, it's more like it's really depressing. It's like, oh, it's bleak. You can do anything. You can't do anything. You're just a dot in the universe, and you don't matter. That's basically what.
And if it was a
is all about.
If it was a Persona series, that's exactly when you take out your gun and shoot yourself in the head and fight God.
Exactly. In Evangelion, there isn't that. That just doesn't happen in Evangelion.
Yeah, like there was the Evangelion collab with Nikkei, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll get into it. And then I was just like, I don't know, because people were saying that like the movies are not good, and like the extended universe where like there's like multiple timelines and they're different characters and not the same character from the... And I was just like, I don't know.
It's really weird that we even get into it, yeah. It's a strange series. It's like Kingdom Hearts. There's like
oh my god,
much shit. There's like so much shit you don't know where to start.
Yeah.
You just get lost and you don't.
With all those spin-offs and everything, and then people were like, no, you don't understand. Master Xehanort created Xehanort, and Xehanort's heartless, and don't forget about Xehanort's nobody. And I was like, it's just a game about Donald and Goofy killing monsters. That's all it is. And people were like, no, the lore is so deep. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's bullshit. It's just an excuse to have Disney characters and Final Fantasy characters.
You know, isn't Mickey a war criminal in Kingdom Hearts?
I think so, yeah, because like he was supposed to... I don't even remember the story for even that, but like it was funny that like he's the king, and like he's supposed to be the mascot for Disney, and he's nowhere to be found. And he's just like he's off saving the world with a keyblade, and then you meet him, and he's just like, oh, don't tell me. Oh, it's like, what the hell? Why? You would think that he would be a party member, but no, you get stuck with Donald and Goofy, and then you realize that you're like, I mean, I have Donald and Goofy as my teammates. That's not so bad.
I mean, they're cool characters. I like Goofy.
I would always take Tarzan and everybody out of my squad and put Donald and Goofy back in, because I was like, I don't care about Tarzan. I want to hear Donald go brah every 5 minutes.
The Goofy movies. I don't know if you've seen the Goofy movies,
yeah.
But like they're so good.
Like, yeah, I've seen. I think I remember a couple of them.
It's literally called a Goofy movie. Like,
yeah,
literally.
But
they're
that was
so good because they actually take Goofy seriously. Like they take him seriously as a character, and it's so good.
That was like one of the OG memes before even the internet, was the fact that if you put Donald in your team, he was never going to heal you when you needed it. He always...
That's true with like any like early video game healer that isn't directly controlled by you.
Yeah, well, even Persona 3, like the end all meme of Persona 3 was that you get to the final boss, and the final boss took like it took an hour to fight that thing. And then Mitsuru gets charmed, and then she uses diorama.
She Diarahans. She Diarahans to the boss. Yeah.
I remember when DSP was fighting that fight, and I was like, I can't believe he even got to the final fight. And then he was just like, this is just stupid. I can't control anything. And the boss just takes a million hits. And I was like, he doesn't even know. He doesn't even know how close he is, and he can't even do it. But if you download that mod, if you emulate it, you can download a mod that just lets you take control of your characters.
Yeah, but now there's the remake.
Yeah.
Thankfully. Now we have the remake. Thank fucking God.
All right, well, I'm gonna get going here because we have almost 6 hours of yapping.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I am fully open to chatting or playing, you know, you could tutor me or whatever in the future.
Yeah, just hit me up whenever. As my bio states, I'm kind of stupid in the head. I never really text first anybody. All right.
Thank you for min-maxing my horrible account and killing Patreon for me.
That's 718 clear. That was genuinely impressive. That's genuinely impressive.
First try, and yeah, we had to fill the rest of the time with just yapping. So that's
yeah, true. We just had to podcast for a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll talk to you later.
Then. Bye bye.